Hey everybody, sorry we're running a little bit late. We're having some technical difficulties, but we are here. And hi Muggsy, hi Scott, hi Sandy. And Ry is here with us. They're going to be down in chat because they were having some trouble connecting. But we are going to work through that so that they can be down in the chat with us. Let me open up the chat over here so I can see it. Okay. So, and for any oh God, I don't have myself muted over here. Oh, there we go. Ooh. 2 weeks off and I forgot everything I'm doing. So Ry is joining us tonight and we're very excited. I'm sorry that they couldn't connect, but for anybody who doesn't know and don't follow them on Blue Sky or you're not familiar with their work, they are a counter-extremism researcher, and you can find their most recent work tracking hybrid threat networks that blend occult aesthetics with mass casualty violence on From the Depths. And that is an independent blog that was launched by Dr. Mark Andre Argentino, and I'm going to link that in the chat here, along with a really good thread that Ry has done over on Blue Sky of their work. And you can read all of the different articles that they have linked there. And you should give them a follow on Blue Sky. And I would recommend signing up From the Depths as well. A lot of great research on there and extremism and things like that. And when Ry shows up too, I know I was hoping to plug some of the new stuff they're working on, but again, technical difficulties, that's what happens here. So I don't know if Quacks knows some of the things that Ry is possibly working on. Do you, Quacks, are you aware of projects that you could link to or?
Nothing that's not out.
Okay, nothing that's not out, but besides what I'm going to do, the linking here with the Blue Sky. Let me pull this up here. I have it linked right here. Okay, I'm going to put this down in chat. This is a link to Ry's work here for everybody. There you go. And that is a link on Blue Sky where you can also follow Ry. And that is all of Ry's work. Yeah, Dr. Mark has great work, Muggsy. Yeah. And Ry is published in From the Depths with Mark. And there's another featured author too on some of the work. I can't think of the name right now. I just read some of it today, actually. And their work was featured in Molly Conger's podcast. Steph, what's that called? Molly Conger's podcast? I can't think of it right now. Weird Little Guys. And it's in that thread as well, too. So I would check all of that out. Yeah, really good stuff. Okay. So today we are going to talk about Satanic Panic through the lens of Geraldo Rivera's 1988 NBC television special, Devil Worship: Exposing Satan's Underground. And this, I just wrote a short thing and then we'll, get into the nuts and bolts. It represents one of the most influential and controversial pieces of sensationalist journalism during America's Satanic Panic era. It aired on October 25th of 1988. It was a 2-hour primetime documentary that achieved the highest ratings ever recorded for an NBC documentary at the time, reaching approximately 19.8 million homes with a 21.9 rating and 33% audience share. However, its sensationalistic approach and lack of credible evidence would later earn widespread condemnation, ultimately prompting Rivera himself to publicly apologize in 1995 for his role in perpetuating the moral panic. The documentary emerged at the height of the Satanic Panic, a moral hysteria that swept across America throughout the 1980s and early 1990s. This phenomenon originated with the 1980 publication, and I know you guys have heard us mention this many times, of Michelle Remembers, a discredited memoir co-written by Canadian psychiatrist Lawrence Pazder and his patient Michelle Smith. The book, which relied on the now debunked practice of recovered memory therapy, made lurid claims about widespread satanic ritual abuse that captivated public imagination despite lacking any corroborating evidence. By 1988, when Riviera's special aired, the panic had reached a fever pitch. The cultural climate was characterized by widespread fear that organized satanic cults were infiltrating American society, particularly targeting children through daycare centers, heavy metal music, and role playing games like Dungeons and Dragons. This hysteria reflected deep anxieties about changing social structures in Reagan era America, including rising divorce rates, more women entering the workforce, and the emergence of latchkey kids, of which I was one. Quacks, were you a latchkey kid too?
Yes.
Steph, latchkey kids? We all were. Yes, a goddamn Canadian. It's all you, Muggsy, all you goddamn Canadians. You're exporting this stuff down to us. Oh, were you too? Kyle, you are too. Yeah, I think they are bringing back Satanic Panic, Mer. They really are. I don't think it ever really
Yeah.
kind of left us.
I was just about to say that the Satanic Panic has always kind of been there, and it's only really been driven out of public discourse, but now social media has allowed it to really flare up again, and then it's been politicized. You get Pizzagate and all that. Hi, Ry.
I know. I'm so sorry Ry couldn't join us. I'm really bummed about that. Yeah, there was an
Yeah, so
article
too.
I found about that it never leaving, and like it really hasn't gone away. I mean, it just kept, it ebbs and flows, I think, in its degree, right?
Yeah. This particular special, like, you'll still see clips of it used in modern, like, QAnon and just evangelical panic stuff. This is one of the most clipped sources, and it's got everything. You've got our friend Ted Gunderson in it,
Yep.
Michael Aquino,
You have famous killers, Charles Manson, right?
Charles Manson. Yeah, I mean it's really it's more than a three-ring circus, and he pushes the stuff really almost in a carnival manner.
He does. He really, really does. I was going to start with, and I had sent this to Ry, and I sent it to you guys too. I came across. Hold on, let me get it pulled up here. It was really interesting. Let me share this screen here. Let me pull this off before we get to the video. It is from the Missouri Legislative Library. And I'll put this down there for anybody who wants to read it because it has a lot of great sources. Ry, I feel you. You must be very, very rural, more rural than me, because sometimes I like disappear from the stream. You'll see it. Hopefully it doesn't happen tonight. Fingers crossed. But Steph and Quacks will be up here like trying to run the show, and they'll just keep like spitballing, and going along without me because that happens. Okay. Satanic panic has been around for centuries. A lot of innocent people hurt or killed by it. Yeah, that's true, Tommy. No, Kyle, I don't know why I'm calling you Tommy. Yeah, I wanted to talk about my shirt too. It is an amazing shirt to wear for today. The reason I wore this shirt today, semi-rural, yeah, semi-rural. Before I get into that, that's important. Thank you for pointing out my shirt. I wore this for a specific reason. Because not only because of the topic we were talking about, but queer satanic, and the satanic panic and everything. And I've been working on that project. They were sued by the Satanic Temple. And I figured since we were talking about this, it would be a great time to kind of push information about their case so people know. And they still have a case going with Newsweek and the publisher of the article. So I was going to post that and their shirt here. And they still have court costs, even though they won their case against the Satanic Temple. So I was going to post that down there for people who might want to look at it or support them because of everything that happened. Hold on 1 second. Let me pull that up. I totally forgot I had this shirt on because I just pull stuff out. Okay. So this is from Queer Satanic for anybody who's interested about it. There's that. And this is their shop where you can get cool merch like the shirt I am wearing today. There we go. David has helped me with so much research, invaluable information. Really, really cool guy, Queer Satanic. The current case for Queer Satanic's case is over with them, but currently, Newsweek wrote an article, just briefly before we get into this, since I got sidetracked because of my shirt. Newsweek wrote an article when Queer Satanic was being sued. And when Newsweek wrote that article, the Satanic Temple got a little bit upset about some things that were written in the article, so they sued them. A slap lawsuit, essentially. And you can read more about it in the article there, Queer Satanic, on their website there. Oh, thank you, Ry, for sharing. Ry said, anyway, for those who don't know, I grew up in a very satanic panic culture that basically took over all of my childhood, and then most of my adulthood got wrecked by 09A weirdos. Oh, geez. Okay. All right. Thank you for sharing that, Ry. So I've had to deal with being ridiculous about Satan from all angles. I guess so, yeah. My gosh.
Not to be confused with all angels.
Yeah, not when I said that, the one stream I did when I said angels, I was like, God damn it, I said angels instead of angles. Hi,
Ryan and I were
Taylor.
just joking about that on Blue Sky.
Okay. Here we go. So the Missouri Legislative Library presents the Satanic Panic in the Missouri General Assembly, and they did a really good breakdown of this. So the roots of a modern crisis, and this presentation covers the Satanic Panic of the 80s and 90s from Missouri. And it was the Missouri General Assembly of the House, and they had a Bill 1370, which was in the 1990s. And just a warning in case you're. And then it starts 1980, 1990. Believe the Children, the beginnings of a moral panic. And what I liked about this, and of course, it starts off with like the exportation Muggsy from Canada. A true story. My mother surrendered me to Satan. And it said, what Michelle remembers, you will never forget. In 1980, Canadian psychiatrist Lawrence Pasder published Michelle Remembers, and that's what we talked about. Michelle claimed that their treatments had uncovered repressed memories of her parents' involvement in a satanic cult. Michelle alleged that not only had she witnessed sacrifices of human infants, but that she herself had been subjected to horrific torture, abuse, and even possession by Satan. The book earned Pasder and Smith a $100,000 hardcover advance, $242,000 for paper book rights and royalties, and a potential movie deal. And then we had the McMartin preschool trial, which we've talked about in previous streams as well. And that was the McMartin family. They owned a California preschool, and they were accused by parents of molesting children under their care. 7 of the McMartin family members and staff were charged with 115 counts of child abuse, later expanded to 321 counts of child abuse involving 48 children. During the trial, accusations were made that the alleged abuses were satanic in nature. In the aftermath of the charges and the publicity that surrounded them, more than 100 other preschools faced similar accusations. The organization believed the children was formed to promote the theory of ritual satanic abuse happening across the nation, particularly in preschools and similar facilities. And this is what we're going to be watching, Geraldo. And I'm just going to skip that way that we, when we get to that, we can talk about that. And then Missouri talks about that. Missouri Monsters, the Satanic Panic reaches the show me state. And Hints of Darkness. In February of 1989, the St. Louis Dispatch followed the example of other news outlets, print and television, and launched a 2-part expose on the supposedly growing satanic threat. According to self-styled authorities on cults interviewed by the paper, devil worshippers perform 50,000 human sacrifices a year nationwide. And like I said, this is in the sourcing, so you can read the articles yourself, but 50,000 human sacrifices a year nationwide. Hints of Darkness. The article goes on to note that 50,000 would be twice the total number of murders reportedly reported yearly nationwide at that point, and that no evidence had yet been found of these grisly rituals. The authorities had an answer for this too. The murders are not recorded because the bodies are never found. And the bodies are not found because they are mutilated, the blood drained, and any remains not used for ritual purposes are burned. So they just hide all that shit. Nothing criminal here. Police departments across the state became involved in the hunt for Satanists. In the first St. Louis Dispatch Post article, 10 police jurisdictions, including Crestwood, Eureka, and Festus, informed the paper that they were investigating activities they believed were occult related. St. Louis police departments alleged that they had discovered 30 locations where they believed satanic activity had occurred. Even the head of the Missouri Highway Patrol Missing Persons Unit was interviewed regarding cases that could potentially be satanic. And in the midst of the seemingly ungodly onslaught, law enforcement officers, therapists, and educators all began attending seminars by quote unquote national experts on satanic related crime. Overnight, an industry was born. Boy, howdy was it. Horror. The second article in the Post-Dispatch series was even more lurid. Therapists, psychiatrists, and social workers described in vivid detail shocking accounts of depravity against children. And it goes on, despite the mysterious nature of these gatherings and lack of hard evidence, the problem was definitely spreading, according to the chief of police. And then there was doubt, though. Not everyone in the Show Me State was a believer in the satanic hordes. Some professed a greater degree of skepticism, demanding more thorough investigations, or even called the whole affair blown out of proportion. And this was about animals being found and satanic cult rumors. You can see there, owner of stolen animals reject link to satanic rites, but that doesn't stop anything. Hard to believe, impossible to accept. However, there were many throughout Missouri who believed in the demonic conspiracy completely and believed there were immediate need to act upon it. Missouri House Representative Kay Steinmetz demanded action from the legislature to combat this threat to Missouri children, despite the fact that, as admitted by Missouri State Highway Patrolmen, no charges had ever been filed in Missouri regarding child sexual abuse by cults. And she said, if even one child is saved, it will be worth it. So she discussed an interim study she had conducted the previous year, which she claimed had found that Missouri is one of 3 states in the nation where child sexual abuse by religious cults is most prevalent. She elaborated on her findings later and said, I did a study on satanic abuse and found that Missouri was one of the worst states, and that our kids are being sexually abused or exploited in the form of devil worship. They were wearing costumes like Santa Claus suits or Easter Bunny outfits or whatever. So the kids, if they said Santa Claus hurt me, would be perceived as lying or exaggerating or whatever. I wrote the legislation that coupled these kinds of crimes so we could punish them. What actually happened is it forced a lot of those satanic worshipers out of Missouri. It is interesting that the claim Steinmetz makes here echoes identically one of the accusations made during the famous McMartin preschool trial, which was heavily reported on in print and television media. We will be one of the first states to do this, and that is the bill that Missouri's talking about here, that they introduced. This bill made specific repeated references to abuse of children as part of a ritual or ceremony, upgrading multiple charges if assault or abuse was carried out as part of such a rite. I Cast You Out, the end of Satanic Panic. And this is where the FBI comes in January of 1992. In 1992, FBI agent Kenneth Lanning released an exhaustive report on the presence of satanic ritual abuse in the United States. His conclusion, there wasn't any to begin with. Hundreds of communities all over America are run by mayors, police departments, and community leaders who are practicing Satanists and who regularly murder and eat people. Not likely. He found that there was no evidence of any occult sacrifice ever happening in the U.S., despite the extremely widespread belief in such activities. The appeal of the satanic conspiracy, he explained, was easy to understand. First, it's a simple explanation for a complex problem. If we do not understand something, we make it the work of some supernatural force. Then, as now, the vast majority of child sexual abuse was perpetuated by people within the child's life, usually family members. Agent Lanning theorized that the reality of this was simply too difficult to accept for many, and so outlandish conspiracies are drawn upon instead. If your child's molestation was perpetuated by a sophisticated satanic cult, there is nothing you could have done to prevent it, and therefore no reason to feel any guilt. His report concluded that the vast majority of child testimonies regarding satanic ritual abuse stem from some combination of urban legends, child imagination, and overzealous interveners who would push children toward desired answers during questioning. And you can read his full report there.
And the Lanning report is definitely prime reading if you want to study the Satanic Panic. That's like required reading.
Yeah,
I believe
it's really,
I believe
really
you
good.
can find that pretty easily on archive.org.
Yeah, really, really good. In 1994, the National Center on Child Abuse and Neglect corroborated Agent Lanning's report with the first comprehensive nationwide study on the subject of satanic ritual abuse. In a survey of more than 11,000 psychiatric and police workers throughout the country, researchers found that out of more than 12,000 accusations of group cult sexual abuse based on satanic ritual, not even one could be substantiated with any hard evidence. The Nightmare Ends. After what became the longest and most expensive trial in U.S. criminal case history, all of the accused in the McMartin preschool affair were acquitted. They were far from the only people to face criminal persecution over claims of satanic abuse. In 1993, a survey by the American Bar Association Center on Children and the Law found that 26% of prosecutors reported handling at least one case with elements of alleged ritual abuse. That is horrifying. Jesus. Hundreds of people were accused, and some were even convicted and saw years in prison over crimes they may never have committed. A bunch of crap. In 1995, Geraldo Rivera publicly apologized for his involvement in promoting the belief in recovered memories and satanic ritual abuse. I want to announce publicly that, as a firm believer of the Believe the Children movement in the 1980s that started with the McMartin trials in California, but I am now convinced that I was terribly wrong, and many innocent people were convicted and went to prison as a result. So he does eventually apologize for what we're going to watch. Okay. You just couldn't believe it. A survey of Missouri criminal cases conducted by the Missouri Legislative Library found that ritual or ceremony language was only ever used in a small handful of cases and never as part of a case involving accusations of satanic or occult activity, despite the language being part of Missouri law for almost 3 decades. In 2015, Senate Bill 491 removed the language from the Missouri statutes without comment. So they just never happened. And that's the end of that. And I'm going to play this to intro us to Geraldo's What Was Satanic Panic for everybody real quick here. Let's get rid of that. Let me open up Satanic Panic. What was Satanic Panic? It's a short video. It's not very long. Then we can get into the crazy Geraldo Rivera. If it'll open for me. I didn't know Joseph wrote that book. Laycock wrote about D&D Satanic Panic. I just read a book from him about TST. Okay, there we go. I got it now. Share screen.
'80s and early 90s. Back in the 80s and early 90s, a wave of troubling accusations swept across North America.
And intense scrutiny on the activities of satanic cults.
Stories of devil worship and satanic cults corrupting young minds.
Unbelievable crime at the hands of satanic cults.
There were terrifying tales of secret satanic cults bent on tormenting and corrupting the young. Heavy metal music had hidden satanic messages.
Possibly satanic messages on some rock music recordings.
And games like Dungeons and Dragons were luring kids to devil worship. And it got even stranger.
Allegations of physical and sexual abuse of children at a babysitting service.
The dark world of ritualistic child abuse.
There's a widely held opinion that what happened at the daycare was the devil's handiwork.
Underground networks of Satanists were infiltrating daycares and preschools to physically and sexually abuse children in occult rituals. Much of what fueled the panic was not real. But these claims led to a wave of high-profile criminal trials in the US, Canada, and beyond. The cases often followed a similar pattern. An initial report of physical or sexual abuse at a daycare would snowball, taking on a life of its own. Overzealous interveners, everyone from parents to police to counselors, would question children, some as young as 2 years old, in ways now known to produce false allegations. Children began to talk about animal sacrifices, blood rituals, secret tunnels, even cannibalism. Police would lay charges, prosecutors would take them to court, and the media would report uncritically on what seemed to be a growing threat.
Authorities searched frantically for evidence of an apparent ritual abuse epidemic across North America.
Some cases would fall apart at trial or during appeal. Others resulted in wrongful convictions. Many of the accused spent years in prison, while others faced financial ruin and damaged reputations. As it turns out, the Satanic Panic may have its origins in Canada. When asked about the spark that set off the hellfire, many experts point to this book, Michelle Remembers, published in 1980, written by Canadian psychiatrist Lawrence Pastor and his former patient, Michelle Smith. The book provided a template for the allegations of satanic ritual abuse that followed. Pastor claimed he helped Smith recover repressed memories from her early childhood of a terrifying initiation into a secret cabal of Satanists operating near Victoria, British Columbia.
They would put me in cages. They would sacrifice animals. They would have a lot of candles and chanting and bizarre things I had never seen.
Did people think this was a fantasy, that you'd made this all up? It was such hocus pocus that it couldn't possibly have happened?
Well, I was one of the first to stand up and start to recount these kinds of things and to bring it publicly.
There was no evidence or witnesses to Smith's account, yet Pastor presented the book as a true story.
The hard evidence is difficult to find because if a child is sacrificed, that child's body isn't going to be left. If it's an Orthodox satanic cult, they're going to burn the body and they're going to eat it during ceremony, so they'll leave no evidence around.
Michelle Remembers was also one of the first books to suggest that underground satanic networks were not only real, but were infiltrating communities in an organized effort. Anyone could be a Satanist, your next-door neighbor, your dentist, or your daycare provider. It was an idea that stuck with many readers.
The book is called Michelle Remembers.
The book became an overnight sensation, and Pastor and Smith received a lucrative publishing deal, about $1.2 million in today's dollars. It also established Pastor as a sought-after expert on the burgeoning phenomenon of ritual abuse, a term he coined himself. There was even talk of a movie deal with Dustin Hoffman playing Pastor. For the McMartin preschool trial in Manhattan Beach, California, where 7 daycare workers were accused of ritually abusing children, Pastor was flown down to be an expert consultant in satanic cults for the prosecution. In another ritual abuse case in Bakersfield, California, Michelle Remembers was used as training material by social workers who believed they had uncovered an extensive satanic pedophile ring. Specialists in satanic ideology were suddenly in high demand as more and more ritual abuse cases went to trial. In Austin, Texas, another self-styled satanic cult expert was used to secure the convictions of daycare owners Dan and Fran Keller. who spent decades in prison before being exonerated. It became increasingly common to see ritual crime training seminars led by psychologists, church groups, and even the police. This is former FBI agent Ken Lanning, who studied the spread of the panic in the 80s.
All these people network with each other, and they'd all get together and go to seminars and discussions, and they'd be told this is what Satanists do and this is how they do it. And so all that is planted through the use of these kinds of techniques, hypnosis and other ways, that cause the spread of this kind of stuff. So many people say, well, you can't identify these cases unless you've been trained to learn about them. And some of that training becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy.
The commercial success of Michelle Remembers inspired dozens of copycat memoirs, which further amplified the perception that satanic ritual abuse was widespread. But there was never any evidence of a satanic conspiracy. In 1994, a psychologist from the University of California researched over 12,000 accusations of ritual abuse, but found no substantiated reports of organized satanic groups who sexually abused children. In later years, as the panic died down, Pazder tried to distance himself from the claims he made in Michelle Remembers.
I'm not there to believe or not believe. I'm there to try and understand what they're trying to tell me of an experience.
This
whether
guy.
that has actually happened to them or whether that is their way of trying to express a profound pain that they've experienced.
But neither he nor Smith ever publicly renounced the book's allegations. This strange period of moral hysteria serves as a reminder of what can happen when we abandon the pursuit of facts for a more sensational fiction. The question is, have we learned our lesson? I'm Lisa Bryn Rundle, host of Uncover Satanic Panic. You can listen to the series now on the CBC Listen app or wherever you get your podcasts.
I was like, oh, I want to listen to her podcast now. After I watched that, whenever I found that in the Missouri thing, I was like, I want to check out that podcast.
I'm not usually one to recommend podcasts, but I thought that was done pretty well when I listened to it.
Yeah, me too. I was like, I think I'll check out
yeah.
that podcast. She did a pretty good job. Yeah, so I thought that was a nice little introduction for people who maybe like don't get the whole thing or pick up bits and pieces from what we've talked about, throughout, since we started doing this, and we mentioned, different people, or, it gives she did a good job, I thought. Let me pull up. Oh, Geraldo Rivera. Here we go, buddy. Let me pull it up. Here we go for a ride on. I've watched this twice since I came across it again, and it's wild every time I watch it.
I can't tell you how many times I've watched this.
Right? It's so, recent days. Like, I've watched it twice in the past 2 weeks, and it's so crazy. Every time I watch it, I'm like, I can't believe they said this. I can't believe this is happening.
Yeah. I've watched it twice in the last, 5 days.
Oh, okay. So I'm not that weird then that I've watched it. I'm not the only one. Okay, good.
No.
I'm just like, what is happening? How is this part of real life? What was the podcast called, Mer? Hold on one second. Let me put the link for that video that we just watched down there so you can catch the end of it. Because I saved it too for myself. Hold on one second here. It is, let me go to the end here. The podcast is called, it is called, where's the name? She said the name. You know what? Let me link it down here for you in case I mess it up. Here you go, Mer. Oh, Muggsy got it. Muggsy was right on it. Thank you, Muggsy. Muggsy was interested too. Okay. Here we go with Geraldo Rivera's Satanic Panic Special.
Sometimes it's just half-baked mumbo-jumbo and scrawled symbol. But other times it goes deeper, deadly.
Tommy died as brutally as his mother did, but at his own hands.
I loved him dearly, but he also took my wife who I loved.
Satanism goes far beyond teenage obsession. Today there are cults that worship the devil, engage in secret ceremonies, believe in ancient, though bizarre theology, all of it constitutionally protected, as long as no laws are broken.
I believe that hate is necessary in a controlled way just as much as love is necessary.
The other face of adult Satanism is violent and fiendish, centered on sexual ritual and torture, frequently descending to the vilest crime of all, sexual abuse of children.
He has drawn pictures of child being sacrificed. He's talked about animal sacrifices. He's disclosed molestation.
And what of their own children? Some are born into satanic cults and grow up as lifelong members. Others are desperate to flee, but dread the penalty of grotesque death.
They're going to catch me, it don't matter. I could run and run and run. They're always going to catch me because they're all over.
And beyond the mayhem and monsters, it's said that a nationwide network of satanic criminals exists. Start with the warped and wicked Charles Manson.
It's everything that human beings don't understand. It's all their fears. It's what they're not sure of. You dig what I'm saying? Satan to me would be God.
Or the demented son of Sam killer David Berkowitz. These and others purportedly linked to the devil worship underground.
Who is Satan?
Yes, see? It's all over the United States and probably all over the world because it's just something that people are experimenting with now.
Impossible to measure, easy to doubt. The very mention of it invites ridicule.
Come out. No, I won't let her go. No.
Often the choice is to avoid confronting it, ignore it, find other explanations, or laugh it off. That is not the choice we have made tonight. We have chosen to ask why. Via satellite, we'll be asking the youngest person on Oklahoma's death row, just 17 when he killed in the name of Satan, why he murdered his own parents. And to Southern California, where we will ask the parents of children in the notorious McMartin preschool why they claim their kids were satanically abused. And to London, where rock star Ozzy Osbourne will tell us why he feels he and heavy metal music are getting a bum rap. And to the state penitentiary in Angola, Louisiana, who asked convicted killer Charles Gervais why he thought the devil would award him 10,000 souls.
The Investigative News Group presents the Geraldo Rivera Special.
This starts off so insane. Oh my gosh. I am like, my senses are overloaded. Woo. Oh yeah, Beck. And that's the thing, like Geraldo did such good investigative, like that asylum thing, like that he did was amazing investigative work. And then he just, money talks, right? Woo. Oh, when he got punched in the face, yeah.
Didn't he get hit by a chair? I thought he got hit by a chair. Yeah, that was the same year.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, that was the Nazi special when he had Metzger and
good old Tom Metzger.
Yeah.
Oh my, this is so, it's like, it's sensory overload. Like, can you imagine like our parents, like I'm thinking because I was born in 76 and this is 88. So I was like 12, 13 years old there. Like my parents at that age, like at that time period, like flipping through the channels or reading the TV guide, gotta watch this. Like parents across the nation were probably freaked the fuck out. Like seeing this, like, oh my God, we've got to do something, right? Like we didn't have a lot of channels back then either. Pushing this fear porn out there.
Worship. Exposing Satan's underground.
Whether a Satan exists is a matter of belief, but we are certain that Satanism exists. To some, it's a religion. To others, it's the practice of evil in the devil's name. It exists, and it's flourishing. Members of our studio audience tonight will attest to that. They are friends and foes of Satanism, devil worshippers and law enforcers, experts and victims. They'll help us understand this force that exalts evil and darkness. We'll be asking why. Why does it exist? And why does it appeal to so many vulnerable people, especially the young? Now, the very young and the impressionable should definitely not be watching this program tonight. This is not a Halloween fable. This is a real-life horror story, and it will give small children bad dreams. As for teenagers and their
Christ's
parents,
sakes, Geraldo.
we hope you are watching, because it's teenagers who are most likely to fall under the spell of this jumble of dark, violent emotions called Satanism, and in some cases, to be driven into committing terrible deeds. Being into heavy metal doesn't necessarily mean your kid's also into Satanism, and most of these fans are not. But there is an undeniable connection between obsession with the really hard stuff and the occult. This stone pony from Kansas City is named Spike.
The upside down cross is a symbol of Satan. Ozzy is a rock and roll king, and most acid rock is involved with Satanism.
Let him who has
Oh, it was John on the show, not Tom.
the number of the beast.
A heavy metal freak from
Yeah, I
Louisiana.
couldn't remember his name, but I
got
knew it
himself
wasn't
into
Tom.
self-mutilation in Satan's name.
It's
We
his son.
cut our arms and let the blood drip into a cup, and we pass it around and drink from the cup, from each other's blood.
Kim from Colorado also practiced the gruesome ritual.
Violence with blood. We like to see blood, and we used to eat blood and stuff like that.
Drinking blood as entertainment is apparently a staple in the acts of heavy metalists like Wasp.
My life became centered not only around the marijuana I was smoking and the booze I was drinking, but it became centered around Satan.
Although Satanism is more obvious in the lyrics of groups like Megadeth, Slayer, Venom, and Iron Maiden. In St. Petersburg, Florida recently, satanic symbols filled the air at this concert by Danish-born King Diamond.
How much can you influence kids? I think people are too clever to be influenced by watching a band or listening to an album to go out and do the same. Because if they were that easy to influence, watching the news, you get the real thing, and everybody knows that, right into your living room. Personally, I am a Satanist, a practicing Satanist, but we never tried to preach that religion to anybody.
Bull. An avowed Satanist, Diamond's protest that he's not preaching is belied by lyrics laced with references to death, grave, and evil. Of course, to some, it's just rock and roll rebellion.
Satan has nothing to do with this kind of a concert.
It's just an outlet to have a good time.
Parents think, oh, Satanism, their kids. They're killing their kids. It's not killing their kids. The parents are screwing up the beginning. We're the next generation. Are you united?
Whatever the connection, there is no doubt that teenage satanic activity in this country is increasing dramatically. In Bayou country in southwest Louisiana, one persistent problem has been grave robbing.
What do they take
Oh,
out?
my goodness.
They take out the bones, especially on the older type grave sites as this, because our understanding is that the right little finger has something to do with their culture, and they make a necklace out of them and they wear them.
Real quick, because I see people talking about records and music and like things associated with that. Just because the Geraldo thing's like 2 hours long, there is from that Missouri legislature thing. There was another thing they included, and it's 20 minutes long, but it talks about how parental advisory labels got added. But it talks about the records being played backwards and stuff, and it's pretty good. But it's 20 minutes long. I'm putting it down in the chat there to watch if anybody's curious. But they do a pretty decent job of talking about how that all happened and like the panic around all of that too, and like hearing secret messages played backwards, and they do a pretty good job. It's from Vox.
Before you start again,
Sure.
Another thing about records that actually goes back to the 70s. John Todd, in his tapes, he used to claim that they pressed demons into the records.
Oh, really?
And so that they would possess whoever listened to them, like this sort of like demonic replicator thing. John Todd actually was one of the bigger influences in creating a satanic panic. He was talking about them sacrificing children. I think that the big innovation with Michelle Remembers is the elaborate sexual abuse scandal aspect
Yeah.
of it. It was more just, you know, sacrificing kids.
There was somebody I was reading about, where did I posted the article. I was going to ask you if you had heard about, it came from, I know I put it in my article links here. Hold on one second. It was about extremist pop culture and the American evangelical right. Jack Chick and the origins of the 1980s satanic panic. But it was about these little. Go ahead.
Yeah,
So you apparently you know.
Chick. Yeah, the Chick tracts were
Yeah.
one of the biggest drivers of the satanic panic. John Todd actually wrote for Jack Chick.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and somebody was talking about Dungeons and Dragons. John Todd was going off about Dungeons and Dragons being satanic. Star Wars was satanic. He was also big in pushing the Illuminati idea and connecting the Illuminati with the satanic panic.
Yeah.
He was a
There
big
was
driver
like so
in
much.
that. Yeah, anyone who really wants to study the satanic panic should listen to the John Todd tapes.
So much. I didn't I had never come across those chick things, Jack Chick, and I was like, what the heck is that?
Thanks to Dee, I have like a 4-inch high stack of them.
Oh, really?
About 4 feet away from me. Yeah, she brought them all
really
up
cool.
from Florida.
That's really cool. No, I came across that today, and that's one thing I've never come across, and I was like, huh, that's really interesting. I have to obviously read it later because I came across it today, and I was like, oh, I'm going to have to go back and read that. But yeah, you always learn something new. Like you can't know everything, right? So it's like you come across new stuff and you're like, huh, I'll read that, later and read up on it. But yeah, interesting.
I'm surprised you don't know about the Chick tracts, though. They were like kind of ubiquitous everywhere. You might not know them by name, but like if you see them, you might.
I think if I see them, I'll definitely know.
Those little comic. They're like little comic book tracts, but it's all like, this guy, he thought Freemasonry was just, a lodge club thing, but all of a sudden, he dies and is in hell because he was a Freemason, or
it's probably the name
they
throwing
change
me
whatever
off.
it is.
If I see them, I'll probably know.
Collectible, like some people like collect them.
Like me,
they believe them, but they're so iconic. They're the little tiny books. Everyone has seen them at some point. It's like a little tiny booklet that would almost fit in the hand of a Cabbage Patch Kid doll, and it's like Jack Chick was just batshit insane. And like I think I had seen one by him where he was like, oh, you think Christian music is safe? All music is of the devil. So it was really
Todd's big on that too.
Oh, I've seen these before. I had these people drop them off at our house before. My mom had these. Like we had I've seen these things before. I've read these. I just never paid attention to them because, like, why would I read Jack Chick during? I was just like, get these out of my face. These are silly. Yeah, my friends and I passed them around and we laughed. I remember these. I looked it up to see what they look like. I know these things. Oh my gosh, how absurd. That's funny. Boy, it's been a long time since I've seen that. Okay, I'm getting distracted by Jack Chicks. Wow.
I just threw a picture of some Chick tracts in the
in Signal?
The group Twitch. I mean,
Okay.
the group Signal.
Let me get those all downloaded so I can show people. Hang on.
One picture.
There we go. Let me see that. Jack Chick. Coming, pictures coming, guys. Here we go.
Just one picture.
Let me upload it here. Let me take this off screen real quick. Remove. We got a picture of a Jack Chick coming up. We aim to please here. Show you something new. There you go. That's what they look like. That's a Jack Chick.
Because, of course, I have a pile of them next to me.
Of course you would, right? Right next to you. Of course, they're just sitting right beside you. Quacks is sitting there with, oh, Corn knows Bible tracts. Yeah, that's exactly what they, yep. Right. My grandma was one of the Chick tract evangelizers, and when she died, my family inherited giant boxfuls of them. Wow. I think somebody must have been evangelizing in our neighborhood or around our house. I mean, we even had Mormons back in the day. We had Jehovah's Witnesses, of course, but we had these. Like, I remember seeing these, and I was like, we just passed them on to our friends and stuff. We're like, what are these? Like, why are these laying on our kitchen counters, right? Because my mom would just bring stuff in and throw it.
I wouldn't call them Bible tracts because they're not really biblical. It's just evangelical, fear comics.
Yeah. Oh yeah, we had these. Boy, to have them today.
Oh, they were
wow.
all over the place. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I did not know that's what they were called. Yep, I have seen them. You were right, Quacks. Yep. Yep. Okay, now I know what we're talking about. Okay, yeah, because when I came across that research, not research, that research article about it that I posted in the thing, I was like, what are jack things that they're talking about? Chick jacks or jack chicks or whatever they're called.
Chick tracts.
Okay, share screen. Geraldo, come back to us. Why is Geraldo not coming back? Am I still sharing something? Did I take the image off? Okay. Hunter, go lay down. You have everything you need. It's not 10 o'clock yet. Quit trying to hustle me for treats. What? No, stop that. I'm sorry, guys. Technical difficulties. I don't know what happened right now. Trying to get this back here on Geraldo Rivera. I don't know why it's not coming up. Share screen. Is it back up yet? Nope. No, Hunter. No. Okay, let's try again.
Boy, you are just rotten. I don't know what you're doing to that
I
poor
know.
dog.
He's so
Everyone is a
skinny.
witness.
He's wasting away. Mer, do not try to encourage that. Okay, I'm not sharing that anymore. All right, what if I close that and reopen Geraldo? Let's try to reopen that. He's so underfed. He's so skinny. Sorry, everybody. I'm reopening it. I bet Jen on Fun Day Fridays has a bunch of them. she probably does. Now the Christians try to lure you in with fake $20 bills. Yeah, I totally do know what those are now. I'm going to have to see if some of those are online to revisit and read them. I'm curious now.
Some of them are.
Are they?
Yeah. Because, their primary purpose, or the whole function of them is to evangelize. So, of course, they try to.
Do they still make them? Like new ones or a new version of them?
Oh, yeah. Those ones that I sent you the picture of are all pretty brand new.
Oh, really? I'm sorry, guys.
Dee picked them up off some display down in Florida.
Oh, really? Slow internet, rural PA here. It's coming. It's loading. My YouTube is taking forever to load. I'm blaming Hunter for throwing me off here. I'll read chat while it's loading. All right, YouTube. There we go. Okay. History. Where'd you go, Geraldo? Oh, there we go. Okay. Pause. Let's try sharing screen again. There we go. Finally, I just needed to, I don't know what I was doing. Okay. Unmute. Here we go.
A necklace out of the
right knuckle.
And the graffiti is no longer John Loves Mary.
Wi-Fi.
Death chamber, the point of no return, this says. As you walk into the main vault, is the devil's pentagram, 666, the sign of the devil. Over here, a bloody skull and crossbones. In Maine, a dozen churches were defaced with satanic symbols. In California, New Jersey, Alabama, and elsewhere, police have found inverted crosses and the remains of mutilated animals. But by far the most frightening of all are the reports of teenagers killing other kids in Satan's name.
They are, Murr.
Douglas County, Georgia.
I'm sorry for you, young lady, and I sentence you to a term of life in prison. I'm sorry for you, and I wish you good luck. Remove her from the courtroom, Mr. Sheriff.
17-year-old Melissa Ernest and two other teenage members of her coven admit drinking her 15-year-old victim's blood, then dancing around her still warm body. Now listen to this report from a small town in Maine.
Yesterday's conviction of Scott Waterhouse for the murder of 12-year-old Giselle Cody may finally bring an end to talk of a satanic cult in the town.
Item, Long Island, New York. Police arrest 17-year-old Ricky Casso for the ritual murder of 15-year-old Gary Lauer.
Just want to pause here for a second. Quacks showed me the website. It is great. Oh my gosh. It's called chick.com, and it has all the cartoon gospel stories. Thank you, Quacks. I'm going to put it in the chat if people want to look at the chick.com. I'm not evangelizing, but if you want to check them out and see how goofy they are. There you go. There's where you can find all your chick cartoons. Oh my gosh. Wow, that is something. Woo! Okay. Thanks, Quacks.
Casso gouged out his victim's eyes.
As we've seen,
I do not recommend that site for buying or purchasing
Satan's name is often appalling and savage.
Interesting to look at
enough to
for
shock
research.
even hardened police officers. Detective Paul Hart thought he had seen everything. Then this veteran New Jersey officer saw how a suburban teenager murdered and mutilated his own mother.
I believe that evil will once again rise and conquer the love of God. This pact is to your approval, signed below.
Just barely 14 years old, Tom Sullivan had written this contract with the devil before he butchered his mother with his Boy Scout knife. The murder took place in the basement of the Sullivan family home.
As we came down here, we found Mrs. Sullivan laying on the floor just about in this area here. Describe the condition of the body. It appeared that her throat had been cut and
Can't
a
trust
good
those
portion
Boy
of her
Scouts.
face had
I
literally
know,
been
right?
slashed away.
They're pocket knives.
Tommy died as brutally as his mother did, but at his own hands.
What did Tommy then manage to do to himself? What wounds did he inflict on himself to kill himself?
His first self-inflicted wounds were a series of wounds to his wrists. 3, if I remember correctly, deep enough to actually sever the arteries and the tendons in his arm, enough to snap back his wrist. And after doing that, he literally slit his throat from ear to ear with this 3.5-inch knife from the windpipe all the way back to
I
the
have a
spinal
question.
column, and to the point of almost taking his head off.
Yes.
I'm not a doctor, but if you are slashing your wrist deep enough to nearly sever it, how the hell are you going to slice your own throat afterwards? This was an issue that I know it's a fictional fantasy movie, but it was brought up in Constantine.
I'm not sure about the Tommy Sullivan case. I don't know that much about it. I do know
It
about
just seems weird.
the Acid King one, like when they get to the acid murders, because that's a more popular one, like that they sensationalize and stuff in some of the other cases. But that one I don't know too much about. Like, I don't know. I think they just use these cases because they were highly publicized and they were quite gruesome at the time.
Yeah.
And you know what I mean? Like, it was like, ooh, what cases could we get to
It
put on the
just-
Geraldo Rivera show, you know?
It feels like they're throwing in other stuff, like, extra. I don't know. It just seems difficult to me that you would be able to do that if your wrist is nearly severed. But,
What all? Yeah, exactly. I know.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Understandably unable to live with the gruesome memories in their family,
Hey, K2.
Tommy's father and younger brother have moved out of state.
Do you think you can ever find it in your heart to forgive your son?
I don't know. I loved him dearly. But he also took my wife, who I loved.
How could this happen here? To a nice boy from a good Catholic school
Nice
and fine
boy.
middle-class family. Sure, he was obsessed by the symbols. This is what his room looked like on the night of the murder and suicide. But heavy metal is not answer enough.
You're a veteran of Vietnam. Had you
My
ever
walls
seen
look like
anything
that.
That brutal?
certainly in an area like this, in a town like this, in a neighborhood like this, you don't expect to see that type of violence. And it was brutal. It was brutal, and there's few of us that will forget that.
Nor do you forget these drawings Tommy made just before he killed himself. But you continue to search for the reasons. What made Tommy? What made the others do it?
Cue dramatic heavy metal music. It is, Mac.
As reporters investigating this story for months, we have a good idea of what's going on in this country. Our big question tonight is why. This is Detective Sergeant Pearl Hart. Yes, stand up. He's the man, the cop who investigated the Tommy Sullivan tragedy. I've never heard of wounds that ferocious, and the pictures are even more appalling. Pictures that we did not show here. Do you think, you're not a theologian, you're a cop, do you think that Tommy was possessed?
I think that possession is a state of mind, and it would have been a hell of an interview with Tommy had we located him. Certainly, like I said before, his death was as violent as his mother's.
Father LeBar, you investigate these cases for the Catholic Church. Is it the Church's position that
this priest investigates possessions? Good job, Geraldo. Perfect. I got to go let my dog out real quick because of my husband's leg, and I'll be right back, but I'm going to let this play.
demonic possession is possible?
It certainly is. There have been many cases down through the centuries, many in our own decade, for example, of where the devil has actually possessed people and caused them to do many strange things.
So you believe it's possible?
I believe not only is it possible, it is a reality in some very select amount of cases.
Let's go to London for a quick exchange with Ozzy Osbourne. Ozzy, I'm glad you're on the program. I'll interview you in greater detail in a couple of minutes. The one thing I have to ask you now, though, is, of course, the vast majority of your fans and the fans of heavy metal music are not Satanists. But there is no doubt, at least not in our reporting, that that heavy metal music plays a role. Every single kid that whose case we know about, who committed a violent act in Satan's name.
This part I think is interesting. Like, poor Ozzy looks so gobsmacked whenever Geraldo comes at him with this.
Was also into heavy metal music. What's your response to that, Ozzy?
Well, I don't really know. All I do is make music. You know, I don't sit down and purposely plan to freak everybody out. I mean, I always have played heavy metal music. I suppose when I was younger and I started writing songs, my world was kind of dark and dingy. You know, I came from a working class family who had nothing, no dough, no prospect of ever having much money, and so that's how I saw the world as a child. So, not all my songs are about Satanism.
Of course not.
In fact, if you
stand by, Ozzy, because I want to get to Sean Sellers, who's the youngest kid ever.
Ozzy's just like, what the fuck, man? Like, I don't know. I'm just making music. Like, I don't know that Ozzy knew really what this was going to be about. Like, maybe kind of like, it almost feels like he knew there was going to be a show about this, and maybe music and Satanism. Like, he was coming on to, and he was just like got blasted by like murderers being on there and stuff. Do you know what I mean?
It really seems like Geraldo kind of had a pattern of misleading his guests.
Yeah. And Ozzy was just like, the fuck is happening here? Like, is this the right show?
I don't think he thought this was going to be quite the circus that it turned out to be.
Now, the guy Geraldo's going to talk to right now, I wrote down just real quick, like, he eventually goes on to, this guy made his, like, Sellers was on so many talk shows, various like other interviews and stuff. And when at his trial, he goes on to claim that he was a practicing Satanist. He had been possessed by a demon. He testifies that he read Anton LaVey's Satanic Bible hundreds of times between the ages of 15 and 16. And then he said he was addicted to Dungeons and Dragons, everything you can imagine for satanic panic, right? And then years later, he claims that he suffered from multiple personality disorder, which is now DID. And then in 1996, psychiatric experts testified that brain scans revealed evidence of at least 3 distinct personalities, including Danny, who was left-handed, unlike Sellers and the controller. However, these claims were dismissed by many experts who argued that any genuine mental illness would have been diagnosed immediately after his arrest, not 7 years later. Let's see. He was executed. He became the first person executed in 40 years for his crimes. I think he recants some of his Satanist stuff too later on. Let's see. Where did that go? But anyways, it was a whole bunch of bullshit. And he does take stuff back. Let's see here. My notes got a little bit wobbled here. I apologize. He attempted to stage a scene to appear like an intruder had committed the murders. Yeah, he does end up saying that it really wasn't Satanism. So yeah, he goes through all the typical stuff that happened to, brain scans. They found Bob in his frontal lobe. Exactly. So he did all the typical stuff that happened in the 80s and 90s. There was this, the devil made me do it. Multiple personality disorders. I believe he finds religion in prison too. Like there's all the typical things that, they go through. So take that with a grain of salt when you're listening. Well, I think everybody knows what we're listening to, but yeah.
To go on death row in Oklahoma.
Yeah, add in video
Sean
games too while we're at it. We might as well.
Murdered his mother, murdered his stepfather, murdered a convenience store clerk. What did Satanism have to do with it, Sean? What did Satan, do you feel, have to do with first your murder of that convenience store clerk?
Satanism was, well, the murder was because it was a, how do I say this so that you can understand it? It was a sacrifice to prove allegiance to Satan, to prove my hatred towards society and everything.
Well, hatred towards society is one thing, Sean, but how does... Yeah, right. Go ahead, quickly.
Sean had broken every one of the 10 commandments except thou shalt not commit murder. And after he worshiped before the altar and asked for powers from Satan, he went out to do this. Technically, it was a human sacrifice.
Okay, I got to move on. You guys stand by. We'll get back to you. Stay with us, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to get into the mind of another all-American boy who came under the influence of Satanism.
Oh, dear God.
In a crime without passion or motive, he and his pals beat another classmate to death. We'll be right back.
Let's go to Ozzy Osbourne and see what he thinks about this.
The Accused. A powerful shocker, sure to be one of the year's most talked about films. A powerful performance from Jodie Foster. It has to be an Oscar nomination.
You ain't gonna defend me because I'm some low-class bimbo, right? I didn't say that.
2 thumbs up, tough, unrelenting.
You could try your case because when I lose, you're through.
Kelly McGillis, Joan Foster, The Accused, rated R. Now playing at a theater near you.
Want to take better pictures? Get the new Canon EOS 750.
We're getting old commercials. I'm sorry here.
SLR with a flash like this and a system with computers
back,
and
guys.
motors in every lens. Here, try it.
At Thayer.
I'm Brad Gumbel. Tomorrow morning on Today, we'll look at racism in presidential politics.
I'm Jane Paul.
Caucus and Bush.
Cat flies down and
Satanism can be cause for concern. Its roots are anywhere. Its roots are even in the very heartland of this country. Take a look. Carl Junction, Missouri, a town of about 4,000 souls in the heart of the Bible Belt, where people believe in God and the devil. Periodically, satanic graffiti and some mutilated animals turn up, causing alarmists to cry that satanic cults are operating in the area. Those charges were routinely discounted until a group of students from this high school shocked the entire nation. Late one night last December, 4 teenagers who had been dabbling in Satanism carried baseball bats, a cat, and a length of rope to an isolated spot near their small town here in Missouri. By the time the night was over, the cat had been mutilated and one of the boys beaten to death by the other three, who then dumped his body in a well. One of the kids who did it, Pete Rowland, is now serving life sentence without parole here at this maximum security facility in Fulton, Missouri. The other two boys, his classmates, were also sentenced to life.
Have you ever been in
Here in the first interview since the murder, Pete Rowland talks about the satanic elements of the crime.
What was it about Satanism that attracted you?
Power. Just, with power comes money, comes girls, just the feeling of people looking up to you, popularity.
You're a good-looking guy, smart. Wouldn't you have those things anyway?
It just seemed easier through the devil.
The devil was the spur for this murder, which Pete confessed on his never-before-seen police videotape.
Yes. Go ahead and show us what you did. Okay. I go right through here, and I grabbed hold of the hand, and I pulled him through to right here. We told the victim, and he was still moaning a little bit and going, kind of like that. Right this bad here, Pete. Okay, this is the bat that I threw. This is the third bat.
Quite a bit of blood and hair on this thing. You can see a lot of hair on the end of it.
Who all hit him? Me, myself, Jim Hardy, and Ron Clemens.
It basically started out like with the killing of animals. Then there's always the heavy metal music, and drugs don't help. Sometimes I didn't feel like I was the master of my own body. Like something else kind of took over with inside of my mind.
What took over?
Just the violence, the devil, lust and greed for drugs, for money.
Pete gradually withdrew from family life. That is probably one of the main things I noticed. He even got to where he avoided eating meals with us. He listened to the music, heavy metal music, every opportunity.
Another example of the link between heavy metal and teenage satanic crime.
Describe what this music did to you.
It's kind of like in the way of when we killed animals, it was just like, things would go through my mind, and I could see the thoughts, I could see hurting someone, torturing people, and just along with the words too. Some of it was just all hail Satan and ripping apart, severing flesh, gouging eyes, things like that, And after you listen to this, 3 or 4 hours a day, every day for, years or months, and it can get to you.
Why did you choose this guy as your victim? Why Steve?
Twitch. I got a bot over there.
Human. Just because we could deceive him easy.
The boy deceived was 19-year-old Stephen Newberry, who then took the first of some 70 blows as his classmates swung their baseball bats.
I kind of looked down and I heard it pop, and I knew what it was. And I looked up, and Steve's eyes were real big, And he just said, why me? Why me? And he just looked like he was really sad, and someone said, because it's fun, Steve. And then we just all just like vultures, we just went in. It happened,
Hi, Melody.
You hit him?
Yes.
Ned?
Yes.
How many times?
A lot. I look at my hands sometimes and I think, are these the hands that killed him? And I know they are, but it just doesn't seem like it, I don't want, I would never want to kill anybody again. Right after we did what we did, I felt real empty inside. I felt like I could never love again, I felt like a zombie.
The devil double-crossed you.
Yes. It just leads to...
I think this is the only case that Geraldo features in this that has any ties to where they kind of dabbled in the occult, but not really. Like, these guys were just like maybe edgelordish and like to dabble and stuff, but didn't really practice Satanism at all. Like, out of all the cases that Geraldo features in this one you can tell he spends the most time on throughout this whole documentary, because he just kind of nitpicks and talks to like when he gets to the guy with the 10,000 or 20,000 souls or whatever it is. But this one he spends the most amount of time on because it has the most meat and potatoes.
Your own destruction. How do you know that?
It was a huge case.
Look where I'm at.
There are a lot of documentaries done about it.
I mean, I'm in jail with life without parole.
I feel very guilty that I didn't pay attention, that I didn't. There were some things
Corn,
that
Ella.
I saw
That's
that
funny,
I
Corn.
feel like
Me
I
either,
should
Corn.
have paid attention to. I saw the album covers, and they're hideous. I just assumed that if they sell it, it's got to be okay. I saw satanic symbols on his book, and I had spoken to him about it. Didn't mean anything, it was.
That was a swastika.
It was a passing phase. I had my things when I was that age. I assumed that he had his. I assumed wrong. And I would advise anybody.
Did you notice your son
if
was
they
doing
see anything
swastikas?
like that, to look into it. Don't ignore it.
That's why I say, like,
it doesn't pass.
The Satanism stuff, like it was more edgelordish. Do you know what I mean? Like occultish stuff. Like it wasn't like your
Parents,
Satanism.
heed the advice of Pete Rowland's mom. Pay attention. Satanism is not a harmless fad or a passing phase in some of these kids' lives. Ozzy,
yeah,
I know that your lyrics are less
Oh, poor Ozzy again.
excessive than
God
groups
damn it,
like,
Ozzy's like, fuck.
Slayer or Venom or Iron Maiden or some of the others, but still, for some reason, maybe it's because you've been around for so long, I see tattoos of your name on some of these, teenage devil worshippers' arms. Wherever I see devil graffiti and satanic graffiti, I see your name also. Do you feel a sense of responsibility, Oz?
The only responsibility I feel is the fact that I'm a true musician in what I play. I don't want to make anybody start doing all this devil worship crap, because that's not my intention. Although I have sang on a few songs about the devil, that's about it. I don't want anyone to harm themselves.
What about the issue of responsibility? What about the whole thing about guilt? Do you feel responsible?
I don't feel guilty. I feel kind of persecuted by everybody because I'm not a bad guy. My intentions are not to harm anyone. In fact, it's directly the opposite. Like when people come to my concerts, I want them to have a good, fun evening out, And it seems to me that a lot of people judge the book by the cover more.
Help.
So they write things about me where they don't even know what they're talking about,
Well, there are lots of people out there, lots of people here in our studio audience have a very different point of view. We'll get to them coming up next. A look into the dark soul of Satanism. Stay with us.
Princess Di blasts heartless Fergie for deserting her new baby. Enquire within.
Oh my God, these commercials.
Way that you want it. Enquire within. TV's designing women star Delta Burke warned.
He's for brunettes.
So he also has Manson on there, and I wouldn't exactly say that Manson was devoid of occult. Like he definitely wasn't an all-out Satanist, but he definitely dabbled into a lot of different things.
Oh, he sure did.
Scientology and
Ozzy was the perfect foil for Geraldo, a weird British guy with long hair who speaks like I'm sure there's more coming. Yeah, he was perfect fodder, especially, with Black Sabbath and everything. Yeah, absolutely.
The Geraldo Rivera special, Devil Worship,
had marbles in his mouth.
Continue. Action Friday starts with Sunny.
Jeez, I thought I got there. Sorry, guys.
Murder. There's a blind girl gets shot by
I saw her. Oh, here we go.
Then,
I just saw Xena.
An unseen killer
He's
stalks
wearing a Misfits t-shirt.
Once again, a warning about some tough language and descriptions in a report that we'll have for you in just a moment. Let me introduce you first, though, to Xena LeVay. Her father, Anton LeVay, is, I guess, the founding father of Satanism in this country. Founding it about 25 years ago, Xena?
Yeah, approximately 25 years.
Can you tell us with any certainty how widespread the religion of Satanism is in this country or around the world?
Well, the religion is worldwide. We have members just throughout the world, and it's a legitimate religion. It's perfectly within the It's legal.
But how many people? Hundreds, thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands?
Hundreds of thousands, I can't say. Thousands, easily.
What is it, Dr. Aquino? Dr. Aquino, the high priest of the Church of Set?
Temple of Set.
Temple of Set, also a colonel, interestingly enough, in the United States Army. What is it, this Satanism?
I think that there is some confusion tonight because the same term means something different to Satanists than it does to Christians in the United States. By our own standards, the people who you've shown in these film clips would not be Satanists, either present or in the past. Rather, they would be the failures of a conventional religion.
I appreciate your opinion. What is it, sir, then? What is Satanism?
Well, originally the Church of Satan, when it was founded, was composed not of people with a hatred for Christianity, but of people who, by and large, were agnostics and atheists, because they felt that the institutions which had arisen around Christianity had failed in their moral commitment.
Very youthful,
Satanism
Aquino.
itself became an emphasis on rational self-interest
and what
and on
is
taking
up with that
responsibility
haircut?
for your
I
own
know.
intellectual and ethical
Like,
decisions.
dude.
Rational self-interest, you thought.
It is so, like, I'm used to old Aquino. Like, so when I see him young, like, I like the older Aquino, I'm like used to his aesthetics and everything. But this haircut, whoa, like, geez, Louise. Woo. That's certainly a look he was going for.
Yes.
Okay, one thing we do know that
monsters.
Satanism has in common with other religions is the belief that the devil can inhabit your body. Remember the movie Exorcist, the film? It dealt with ridding the body of Satan in a ritual called exorcism. As we discovered in the heart of the Haitian section of Brooklyn, New York, exorcism is more than just a scene in a movie. It's a common aspect. Operating out of the back room of this religious curio shop, a voodoo priest regularly performs exorcism. This one on a woman whose persistent stomach pains were thought to be caused by the devil inside her.
Pause for a second.
I sure can. Gotcha.
Okay, so they keep talking about sacrifice, and there's a very implicit sacrifice going on here that they don't actually show, but they keep talking about how sacrifice is a thing in Satanism, and then they're about going to show somebody about to sacrifice a chicken, and they do not address that that's on their good side of the. Anyway.
I know. There's a lot of cuts and things that they do in this, and like, and they'll say it at the end, but it's interesting because Geraldo's like, yeah, we have some guests we couldn't get to. Dude, like, what is going on with your special? Like, this whole thing is just so poorly put together. And I don't know. It was just bad.
Well, it was intentionally. It's an ADD circus so that you don't get bored of anything. It's just throwing things at you so fast. It's a gish gallop.
Yes, it is. Yep,
it's a
gish
video
gallop.
gish gallop.
It is. Oh, I can smell the Aquanet mugs. yeah, her hair, and then whatever Aquino's using to keep his down. Whew, it is a lot.
Today you come to me, and I'm going to let them know he cannot buy you again.
With the help of several assistants and accompanied by throbbing traditional music, the priest's incantations built to a crescendo. Then, in a moment of almost sexual release, the devil was purged from the patient.
The chicken in death. The chicken take all the malady, all the sickness away from you.
In every way, Southern California is a very long way from the heart of Brooklyn.
Sure, Steph, go ahead.
Sorry, I had to wipe my mouth. My lovely husband brought me up
the
fake gyro meat in a salad. Let's make no mistake about it. I don't think Geraldo is necessarily a racist person, but racism is something that you're not always aware of. And all the time, especially in the 80s and 90s, with all this talk about voodoo, it was always presented as, look at these savages. It's always presented as being some horrific, evil thing. Like it's related to Santeria, which is part Catholic, and
But they always
I
talk about voodoo. Nobody talks about Santeria when talking in Satanic Panic.
unless
Yeah, there's a
it's
huge element of connection to that.
and
Yeah.
it's sad though because I had taken a class on voodoo. They didn't teach you how to do it. It was like the history and stuff. I can't remember that much of it, but there are like laws and like you could be like one block away from your neighbor and like each block has a different law and they have a different symbol and it's so fascinating. It's so incredibly fascinating. And it kind of
I blame Serpent and the
like
Rainbow for ruining people's perceptions on what voodoo really
Oh
is,
no,
right?
it was
yeah.
In
was
popular culture, though, that changes people's visions.
it was really bad. The vision of voodoo before that was really bad, particularly in the South with Haiti was completely demonized because it was the one slave colony that overtook the white oppressors.
Oh, sure.
And voodoo has this huge element of, or the appearance of voodoo has a huge connection to like Confederate racism.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah, so Serpent and the Rainbow kind of just threw a horror movie facade on this already really bad racist perception. But it definitely
help.
I mean,
it definitely did not help, and it was part of the manifestation of the Satanic Panic. I mean, I read that back in the 80s.
Yeah.
I mean, the book wasn't sensationalized like that. The book that the movie was based on, but they had to sensationalize it. Like I remember seeing it as a little kid, and I was like, "Wow, voodoo can actually make people fly." No, those were representations of hallucinations. The guy who wrote the book was an biologist or something like botanist, and he went down to like study stuff. And the book wasn't sensational, but
I never read the book. I saw the movie, and it scared me as a kid because my dad recorded it off of HBO. So, back then, like if you had HBO, you recorded good movies. And I remember watching, I was fucking terrified as a kid. Like the movie scared the bejesus out of me.
The book was sensational enough, but then they made a horror movie out of it.
I'll have to read the book. I've never read it.
It's not great.
Well, I just read the Turner Diaries, so comparably
speaking, I mean if you're reading things just to understand like the zeitgeist of the Satanic Panic, then yeah, it's in there. You probably should.
And they're talking about these crimes where people blamed it on the devil. I have to kind of wonder if it wasn't some kind of weird reciprocal like feedback loop where people are like, oh, people are killing in the name of the devil, so there's got to be some wacko out there who killed. They were not a mentally well person. They did something crazy, and then they hear everybody saying, "Oh, people just blame it on the devil," so they decide to blame it on the devil. You know what I mean? It's almost like a feedback loop.
The author of Serpent and the Rainbow is Canadian. Muggsy, get your people under control.
But at the church of a preacher named Roy Masters, exorcisms of the devil appear just as sincere, far out.
Oh, sorry, I was on the wrong tab. There we go.
Okay, this guy is a stage hypnotist.
Really?
Yeah. Like I looked him up, and he's not known as being like an evangelist or a theology guy. He's a stage hypnotist. So just keep that in mind as we go on this.
Oh my gosh.
Carry on.
There's so much gish gallop in this. Just everything all at once.
With a background in show business rather than theology, Masters claims the members of his congregation react so profoundly to the laying on of the cross because they feel and fear themselves possessed by the devil.
Come out. No. I won't let her go. No.
Devil worship is as old as religion itself. It's the grim alternative, the flip side of life. Evil over good, dark over light, Satan or God himself.
Come forth and bestow these blessings of hell upon us.
Forced underground by the religious hysteria of the Middle Ages, Satanism was resurrected, first by an Englishman named Aleister Crowley in the early 20th century. It entered its modern era in this country just about 25 years ago, under the theatrical guidance of Anton LaVey, California-based high priest of present-day devil worship.
So they blame Crowley as like bringing back Satanism, but like there was this whole, literary Satanism current that was going on well before him, and Crowley was not a Satanist. He had his own religion. He did the hymn to Satan, the poetic Satanism thing, but like so many people did that across the board that's one of the little myths that come through this that irk me the most.
Well, as soon as I said Aleister Crowley, I was like, oh. I mean, yeah. I was like, here we go. Like, they always do that. Like, yeah. What is that? Oh, I just saw somebody. They haven't mentioned Amityville Horror. Does it come up in this? I watched this twice.
I don't think it does.
I don't think it does, surprisingly enough. Which is surprising because they mentioned The Exorcist. You thought they would mention it too. It's interesting that they don't because there's so much. Well, maybe it got left on the cutting room floor. Joseph Laycock wrote another book about the influences of horror movies on the theological interpretations of demon possession and Satan. Need to read this soon. I don't know that one, Ry. What's the name of that book? Like I said, I just became aware of his recent writing because I read that book on the Satanic Temple. I hadn't read any of his other writings. I didn't know about that one. I'm going to have to check out some of his other books.
They founded the Church of Satan. Now, despite its preachings of evil and hate, the church and its offshoots are constitutionally protected religions.
I believe that hate is necessary in a controlled way just as much as love is necessary.
LaVey penned the best-selling Satanic Bible. It's the handbook of devil worshippers everywhere. And for a time, he was considered chic enough to attract the attention of
Anton
Hollywood.
LaVey is that?
After working together on a film,
he's an
LaVey
asshole,
made Sammy Davis
racist, piece of
Jr.
shit,
an honorary
anti-Semitic,
member, while the late Jane Mansfield
shock value,
was for a time among
aesthetics.
LaVey's most passionate followers.
Most of the people
I'm not
that
a
are in my
fan.
group are professional people. They're business people. They're people that are from very responsible walks of life.
Contemporary Satanism relies heavily on bizarre and sometimes bloody ceremonies.
One of the ugliest, yet apparently most common rituals in devil worship is the sacrifice of animals, often involving the removal of organs
Halloween
and the
horns.
draining of their blood in elaborate ceremonies. Well, a series of
thank you,
cattle
Quacks.
mutilations on this Louisiana farm has sent a shiver of fear through this entire community. Show me the evidence that this was some kind of ritual.
Oh, this hole right here and the tail, they cut the tail off. The same thing with the ears.
Cattle mutilation.
Right.
So you two have no doubt but that your animals
So
were
it's
used
not
in
the
some kind of
aliens,
ritual.
it's Satanists for
Right.
this one.
All the blood was gone out of them, too. Every one of them, the blood was
People
drained.
thought it was
No
Satanists
blood,
before they
no
thought it was
inside.
aliens.
So it's shifted from Satanists to the aliens.
Yeah, the satanic cult theory was the real big original thing, and then it swung pretty heavily to aliens. By 88, this is pretty late to be blaming it on satanic cults.
They were pretty late to the game.
Yeah.
I pulled out everything. I'm begging for something to be done. I'm scared.
In response to the animal mutilations and other mysterious and unsolved crimes in this area, the local fundamentalist church held an extraordinary service.
There's been a lot of questions about, are there any witchcraft, occultism, Satan worshipers in the area? And the answer is obviously yes. The only way to deal with Satan, which is spirit, is by way of spirit.
The preacher
Yeah, Ry
asked
gave me
his
2 new
flock to
books to
protect
read. I love
themselves
reading.
with their faith, but some chose a more down-to-earth method.
But Blunt, I believe in the Lord, and I believe in you. But I'm still going to carry my gun because I'm scared.
In our investigation, we discovered that some of Satan's soldiers are also high-ranking officers in the United States military. Here at San Francisco's Presidio Army Base, for example, Lieutenant Colonel Michael Aquino
Presidio.
led a double life as a satanic high priest.
Double life.
The colonel's cult is listed in the San Francisco
He's practicing
telephone
his
book.
religion.
And his own answering machine boasts of
My
his
Lord.
affiliation.
This is the Temple of Set. The temple is the only international satanic religious institution fully recognized by the United States government.
Indeed, the Army does officially recognize Satanism as a legitimate religion and supplies chaplains with this guide for ministering to the satanic soldier. Yet unofficially, some charge that Army bases have become sanctuaries for devil worshippers. Just last month, under a full moon, I took a midnight tour of the Presidio grounds with police investigator Ed Abanofsky.
Are you saying that there was a satanic cult active right here on the Army base?
Yes, we believe so. There's evidence to substantiate that. They had satanic ritual going on. There's an altar in there, and all of the graffiti on the wall would indicate that.
Let's see if I can see it. How'd you find this place?
This is a fortification during World War II. During World War II, where they had gun batteries.
I can see a pentagram painted on the wall. I can see the words Prince of Darkness. On this wall, I see several inverted crosses and other obvious satanic ritualistic paintings.
Oh, my goodness.
Joseph, we've agreed to conceal your identity, but you are an officer in the United States Army.
That's correct.
And you were an officer in the United States Army during the time you were a member of this satanic organization.
Yes.
Did the authorities at the Presidio know that a satanic organization was active on their base during the time that you were a member?
They were very much aware of it, yes.
The present base commander, Colonel Rafferty, says that today at least,
I know of no satanic activities whatsoever in this area.
Satanism may be a constitutionally protected religion. But similar to another recent case at the United States Military Academy at West Point, here charges surface connecting ritual child abuse at the Presidio Daycare Center to the devil cult.
It was here, parents and others allege, that as many as 60 young children were ritualistically abused by soldiers of Satan. What actually was done to the kids?
Oral copulation, sodomy, defecation. They were urinated on.
This is all unfounded,
The former
by the
chief
way.
juvenile
Nothing ever came out of these
investigator
cases.
at the Presidio, Ed Abanofsky, is here. He's now a deputy sheriff in Santa Clara County. Colonel Aquino.
He even has to admit
We
that on
note,
the show.
sir, for the record.
What's that?
He even has to admit that in the show.
Uh-huh. And sadly, somebody that I study that I just really don't want to talk about tonight, but they still push that and say Michael Aquino is tied to that. And yeah, Jim Stewartson. So if you're following him, you might want to unfollow because he pushes a lot of disinformation. Anyways, why I'm paused, I'm going to share Ry's link again for anybody who came in later here. It's some of the work that she has done. And she's a great follow on Blue Sky. And also, this is From the Depths. It's Dr. Mark Andre Argentino's website where he started his like blog site that he started. It's an independent blog that he launched, and he has guest contributors and things like that. It's a really good resource for extremism and all kinds of research and things like that. You should definitely check it out and sign up.
Super sweet. I see Ry pop up in my notifications a lot, like being very supportive. Ry's just a really sweet person.
Yes, agree.
So I just
Concur.
wanted to plug that.
That you were originally implicated
before we move on.
in the dreadful...
Speaking of Mark Andre Argentino and Jim Stewartson, and I had to go look to see exactly what it was, but when Jim Stewartson made up his enemies list, he included Mark Andre D'Antonio.
He called him D'Antonio.
Yep. He's on Jim Stewartson's enemy lists as Mark
love
Andre
it.
D'Antonio.
I love it.
Right between Cheyenne and Nick Bakovich, however you pronounce his name. I'm not even going to attempt to pronounce Cheyenne's last name.
Wait. Stu has beef with Cheyenne too?
Oh yeah, that goes way back. Before I even warned you about Jim Stewartson when you popped up in the scene.
Why did you hate Cheyenne? He's like the sweetest person.
Well, because when he was putting out his original theory on QAnon, Cheyenne was one of the people who was like, "Nope, that's bunk."
Yeah.
And all the TTP people jumped in and attacked him in his replies, and that was when I commented that it wasn't a good look that they were all dogpiling people that disagreed with Jim and the TTP people, and that they were starting to look a little culty. And that's when Jim went nuts and started screaming in the group chat that, who the fuck is QuacksAnonymous?
Oh, I'll put that episode down there for you, too. I just saw that weird little guys. I'll put that down there for you, Ry. There it is. It's a very good episode. I listened to it again today, in case you were up on stage and we talked about it, so that I could refresh my memory. And I read your articles again too.
That is it. I'll have to look for that episode. I miss a few of the episodes here and there, but I say this all the time, and I've told Molly online, like, I have misophonia and I have a hard time with a lot of female podcasters. Molly is one of the best female podcasters. Her voice is gentle. She has a great cadence. And the music is so whimsical. So like, she's like talking about like something horrible, and I'm humming along with the music, and I'm like, wait a minute. She does such a great job, and she's very well respected. So well done.
Yeah, it's a great episode. Like I said, I listened to it today, and I read those articles that Ry did with Mark, and I apologize, I can't think of the other author's name at the moment right now in my head. It's there, but I read them. They're very well done. If you want to wrap your head around some groups and things that have been happening that maybe you've heard about a shooting here or there, or you don't exactly understand Terragram or comms or different things that have been happening, and you're trying to wrap your head around different things that have been going on, and things in internet culture and extremism, I definitely recommend checking them out, because even I have trouble wrapping my head around it. And if it weren't for Ry, people like Ry, like, I would definitely have a much harder time. What was I going to say? It was something about, actually, because we're still on Jim Stewartson, and like part of my TST series, I actually talk about like him still pushing Satanic Panic, because he talks about his eyebrows, Aquino's eyebrows, and compares them to
Eyebrow Gate.
Yeah, Eyebrow Gate. And he pushes that because he says he does that and he's a Satanist because of his eyebrows and stuff. Like, Jim Stewartson is like the most absurd guy ever. Oh. What can you do? Yeah, Molly is fantastic. She is a great storyteller. I love her stuff. Like, she is really, really good. Eyebrow Gate.
Charges of child abuse. We note also that no charges were ever brought against you, and presumably you have been cleared. Would you like to comment on why those charges were brought against you?
Well, the entire time that the so-called child molestation scandal was occurring at the Presidio, the time period when these terrible events were supposedly taking place, I was assigned to the National Defense University in Washington, D.C., and my wife was out there living with me.
But is it not a fact that a 3.5-year-old girl identified you as the alleged perpetrator of molestation?
No, as a matter of fact, it is not the case. An accusation was made by her stepfather, who was an Army chaplain, speaking on behalf of this child. In her original interview with the FBI, she denied ever being molested.
Well, I've seen you are innocent until proven guilty. You were never charged in this case. I don't want to belabor the point. I have seen, however, the affidavits for the search warrant of your home, and they indicate the child is speaking to the authorities, not her father.
This was after she had been subjected to therapy.
Let's say you are innocent of that. You are no longer at the Presidio, you are now in St. Louis, but you are still a serving officer or colonel in the United States Army. Do you
Because
feel
it was unfounded, Geraldo.
inconsistent with a high-ranking officer sworn to uphold the Constitution of the United States that you are also a practicing
He's
Satanist?
suggesting that
Not in the least.
Satanism
The
itself
Army has
should...
known of my religion
Right?
for the last 20 years.
Which is, for as much as everybody always bangs on about freedom of religion and you should be able to do this and that, but Satanism, how can you possibly uphold the Constitution and be a Satanist? I never heard of such a thing. My golly gee.
Yeah. While we're stopped, I just want to say Aquino couldn't answer the question that was put to him of why would somebody make these accusations, and I think the answer is really just self-evident, and he doesn't want to say it. It's because he's walking around making himself look like a cartoon or like Munster's bad guy. Of course
He's an easy
he's
target.
gonna be a target.
Yeah.
Of course he's going to be a target.
Look at me. Of course I'm a target. Like, that would have been the easy answer, right?
Yeah.
There has never been a problem with it, any more than there's a problem with other members of minority religions.
But let me read from the Satanic Bible. Quote, this is the number one, commandment. Death to the weakling, wealth to the strong.
I just wanted to
How can
add
you believe
something.
this and still...
I had watched a little bit of this before when we were doing the Gunders and stuff, and this was the video I watched where it struck me that, oh wait, no, it was a different video with Anton LaVey, but it was a talk show format, same time period. And I'm seeing it again with this. These are supposed to be the bad, creepy, weird people. And it's not because I like, so-called creepy people or something but they are like, Aquino is here, he's like refuting him. He's being calm, he's being patient, he's being poised, and LaVey did that too. And it's very interesting to me that the people who are supposed to be the bad guys are coming off as mature, responsible, polite people. Like, this whole thing backfired. I really think in some ways them trying to make them look like some evil shitbag, it kind of backfired. I think it probably made
I don't know
people
about
more
that.
attractive. I mean in the public eye, but if I was watching this, like, even as a teenager, and I understand different people are different, but I'd be like, these aren't the bad guys.
Well, of course there's reverse effects of, he's making Aquino a more household name, and of course, any attention is, or any publicity is good publicity. So the same with when he put the White Aryan Resistance and American Front on his show. Of course, that just gave them more publicity and more people to go to it. So yeah, in that respect.
And
I think
Geraldo, go ahead, sorry.
But I think as far as, public perception, I don't think that Michael Aquino on here made Satanism, any... I don't...
He looks more sane than what they're trying to present. Like, he's acting like he's the adult in the room. And, it just...
Yeah, but he also seems shady as shit.
I know. It's just... And it was so funny, like, when earlier on when Geraldo was like asking Ozzy, well, don't you feel any responsibility? I would love to sit Geraldo down, play him that clip, and be like, how do you feel, buddy? Do you feel responsible?
Ozzy did a good job. I don't think Aquino did.
Yeah, he did.
I don't think Xena did either.
Oh, you mean Taylor Swift?
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm just trying to. As I'm talking to you, I was listening, but my son needs my Amazon password. Apparently, I changed it, and they're ordering stuff from the wedding. I am listening, but whenever we're ready to play again, so I can keep helping him figure out this password.
You can type it into the chat.
So everybody can shop, huh? Oh, okay.
Uphold the Constitution of the United States. Death to the weakling?
Well, for one thing, what you're looking at there is a highly polemical book that was never meant to be taken literally in all of its contents. Yes, and I'm aware of that, and I'm also saying that members of the Church of Satan understood that much of this book was in the form of a polemic. It was a statement that was dramatically made. It was not intended to be taken literally in all its respects.
So we should not take this book literally.
Correct.
This is Dr. Walter Grote, whose daughter was allegedly abused at West Point, the United States Military Academy. You were a captain in the United States Army. Aside from what allegedly happened to your daughter, which I know you allege part of Satanic cult, having nothing to do, this may I say again for the record. What is your feeling on the fact that a serving officer in the United States Army is also a professed Satanist, a high-ranking person?
Well, I think in this election year, we've heard a lot about values, Geraldo. We've heard a lot that our little children should be saying the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag. Mr. Aquino has identified himself as an antichrist. He preaches that as the leader of the temple said. I don't think I'm misquoting him. I find it inconceivable that we can have candidates talking about...
Okay, I'm back again. I got that all settled. Now I can focus again. I got the kids settled for the wedding. It was broken up. You couldn't hear it. Quacks, does it sound good again?
Oh, yeah. Sorry, I was
Okay.
muted.
No, you're fine. You're fine. Okay. Got the kiddos shopping on Amazon. They're good.
One nation under God, and having our children say that, yet by the same token, we can have somebody in our army as a colonel leading our troops in battle who are opposed to the very concept of God and whose whole purpose it is to fight against God.
We have to take a break right here. Next, more on the connection between Satanism and violence, including more charges of the sexual abuse of children. If you have let your kids watch up until now, we urge you, ladies and gentlemen, we are not kidding. Get them away from the TV.
Get them away from the TV. It's getting bad, folks.
Some people would kill them to get on the radio.
I did it again, Jack.
On an all-new Unsolved Mysteries, you'll join real-life ghosts.
Why can't you be like the...
I'll go out with you.
What?
Once again, parents, we urge you to heed our strongest warning about this next report on the abuse of children, the alleged abuse of children, because if the point of devil worship is evil, what could be more evil than this?
That's the baby right there.
Right here?
Uh-huh. It came out of her already.
What'd they do to the baby?
Then David took it and kept throwing it against the wall, and he killed it, and he took it in the house.
No, you
right,
saw
Muggsy?
Yeah.
These are pictures that can chill a parent's soul. They're a symptom that something dreadful, unspeakable has happened to the child. In this case, it's an 8-year-old boy from Grenada, Mississippi.
They took it in an old caboose.
That said, Hell's House Terror in China. What is going on with this drawing? I'm sorry. Well, we all know how they used to coach the children, but really? Hell's House Terror in China? Come on.
And they had these things they called Spain.
Spain?
Yes, Spain. They stuck out my butt.
Who stuck it?
David.
Your dad?
Uh-huh. I already did.
These children.
2 doctors have provided medical evidence that from a very early age, this boy has been repeatedly abused. His mother goes further. She claims the sexual abuse happened as part of a satanic ritual.
Shame on these
your
people.
husband was part of a satanic cult.
I allege that he was the high priest of a satanic cult.
David, the boy's father, has never been formally charged.
Yeah.
He's now in hiding. Now, incest is certainly not new, but apparently more and more of it is taking on the dark overtones of Satan.
She talked about there being a Satan, and she said she talked about there being boys that had hurt her.
Listen to what this 5-year-old girl from Orange County, California, told her mother her father did to her.
God.
Daddy was heading the meeting, and he wore a real-life baby foot around his neck. She says they each drank the blood, and then they all hurt me.
Said, how did they hurt you?
He wore a real-life baby foot around his neck. Come on, Geraldo. Like, I cannot believe he... Jesus Christ.
Spread her legs and pointed to their crotch and said, right here.
And it gets worse. According to his family, this severely traumatized 10-year-old boy, also from Southern California, was allegedly molested by a trusted neighborhood minister as part of an ongoing satanic cult.
Jimmy talked about having a gun held to his head, about being shown a skeleton, about having to touch the skeleton. He has drawn pictures of a child being sacrificed. He's talked about animal sacrifices. He's disclosed molestation.
In the very places created to care for children, in nurseries and daycare centers across the nation, there are increasing reports of ritual sexual abuse. The children of McMartin are still filled with lurid stories of their awful experience there.
What did they say the devil would do to you?
They said that if we told that the devil would come and kill our parents, and he said that we wouldn't live to be the age 9.
What were they doing to you?
Molesting me.
What does that mean? What does molesting you mean?
Touching us in places we don't want. And
I-
then they
hold
would,
on.
like, threaten us, like, oh, you...
We all know that these things are bullshit.
Yes.
But what child is going to know the word molest unless they've been trained to use that? Like that right there, the fact that the child said that is, and also, even if they're not showing the child's face, this is exploitation.
It's so exploitative.
This is the only people abusing these children are the ones filming it and using it, and it's disgusting. The real abusers in the satanic panic were the parents, the police, and the psychologists.
And the media.
Yep.
They all were. It was so gross. Like, the whole thing.
I mean, obviously, some kids were abused. There was.
Oh, I'm not disputing that. I'm just
some abuse. Let's but of course the big problem with the satanic panic was that once it's thrown into this ridiculous context, then legitimate abuse gets missed.
Well, yeah, and I think that was the important part from the FBI report whenever he said that, right? It's typically somebody close to the family or a close relation. It's not these lurid tales that you're hearing, family friend, an associate, or, all these other things that we do know about child abuse now. It's not these huge satanic cults or underground, tunnels and stuff, and so you're missing the real abuse that is happening, right?
It's uncles and brothers and fathers.
Yeah. And you're missing all of that because you're focused on, because you don't want to deal with that, right? That's a horrible thing to imagine or to say that happened. It's easier to blame a cult than, to have any guilt about any of that stuff happening. Facts. It's not easy. It's a horrible crime.
Don't say they come to your house and kill everybody, send you to the devil and everything. They would scare us really much.
No region in this country is beyond the reach of the devil worshippers. Even here in the heartland of America, stories of ritual abuse crop up. The children you're about to meet were born into it. They say their parents forced them to witness bloody ritual, and even they say to participate in ritual murder. Now in the safe haven of a concerned foster family, the children are haunted by their personal nightmares.
My dad was involved in a lot of it. He's like one of the main guys. He's a leader or something. He made us have sex with them and with other guys, and he's done it with other people. I don't know. I just don't like him.
Tell us what else besides having sex with him and the other guys that made you do.
Kill kids and be there and involved in everything else that happened. and I had to be there. And if I didn't, he threatened me, like, you're going to be killed, or people aren't going to believe you if you tell anybody, or I'll find you, you know. So there's no way out, and you must do it.
We found out she had been defecated on, that it was smeared all over her body and put in her mouth.
My children have talked about all of those things and worse. They've talked about having to kill other children. Well, she told me about the time from as we think was about year and a half, 2 years old, when this was the Satanic cult that she was involved
I love you,
with.
Quacks. I just saw signal.
And, she was made to take a gun and put it up to someone's head. It was another child, and pull the trigger.
You might want to label that.
One of the greatest difficulties in reporting a story like this one is that so much of it sounds so...
What's that?
You might want to label what that is.
I know, right?
outrageous, too dreadful, too bizarre to be true. Well, here in Nebraska and elsewhere across this nation...
Down there I
concerned citizens have
posted
gotten
for
together-
anybody, that's the FBI file from the gentleman we talked about. That's the National Center for Analysis of Violent Crime. That's the Investigator's Guide to Allegations of Ritual Child Abuse. And that is from, what was his name? Lanning. That's the FBI who investigated. It's a really thorough, good report there if you want to read that. Really good report. Yeah. Okay.
To defeat that disbelief. This
The McMartin
organization is
parents.
called Believe the Children. Its guiding principle that the stories these young victims are telling are too widespread, too consistent not to be true.
The stories are so outrageous, and I am such an honest person, I assumed everybody would believe me. And to this day, I'll get in the middle of a story and I'll think, they're going to think I'm crazy. This sounds crazy. But when you begin to hear this same thing time and again, different stories, but the same horrible underlying things, the same behavior in the kids, I just want to scream.
I'm a stranger. I come up to you and you tell me this story and I say, I don't believe you. How do you react? What do you do?
I just say, well, that's your right not to believe it. But someday, if you see something or you hear something from somebody else, just remember what you heard from me.
If we were lying, I don't think we would come up with such good lies.
Are you telling us the truth?
If this isn't true,
They didn't come up with good
you can
lies.
do anything you want with me, but it's true.
So sad.
Let's go now to the McMartin preschool parents who have gathered for us in Los Angeles. You recall that case, notorious case. I must state for the record, however, that the charges against most of the defendants have been dropped. Charges are still pending against 2 of them, however. We know that the parents and the children allege child abuse. What is much less known is that they say it was ritual abuse as part of a satanic cult. Whoever is the designated spokesman there, please tell us why you believe this was part of a ritual cult, abuse as part of a satanic cult.
Well, the easiest reason to that question, Geraldo, is the fact when the children started talking, they started talking about robes and candles. They described an Episcopal church, and once they started narrowing that down, you could see that it had to be satanic. It's very important in satanic religions to have a priest because they truly do believe in power. The difference only between Catholicism and the Episcopal religion is almost done. They both use wine, they both use bread, and so on. The truth about Satanism is they truly do use blood, and they mix it with urine, and then they also use the real meat, the real flesh. This is what makes Satanism true, and this is what 1,200 molested kids in the city of Manhattan Beach have told the Sheriff's Department, and it's an outrage that we are where we are with this case, and these poor, unprotected kids that have, that's a third of the school system in the city of Manhattan Beach has been molested. We have 8 preschools closed here. This is the child molestation capital of the world.
Child molestation capital of the world.
In this city than any city this side of Detroit, and I'm not picking on Detroit.
You may have heard of a case here in New York recently.
For the McMartin trial. Hi, Sandy, by the way. I don't know if they've done follow-ups. I would have to. Do you know, Steph? Because I know you followed that much more in depth. I know that all the charges were dropped. It took a long time. They were in jail for a long time, right, Steph?
They sat in jail for 5 years during the course of the trial. And you have to be careful when you look at McMartin, if you look up stuff about McMartin, because I was interested in the excavation, the archaeological dig that was done by the insistence of the parents. The archaeologist who conducted the survey and wrote the report seemed to edge into there actually having been tunnels. And then I read another report that did a psychological analysis on the original archaeology report. And the person who wrote it, he did a great job, pointed out like step by step, like, okay, we traced the property back to the 30s. All the stuff that we found in these so-called tunnels were discarded items of trash from that era. And we know the family that had originally owned the property, and we found their mail buried in these so-called tunnels, which are nothing more but trash pits. And there were it's you will find yourself in a rabbit hole with McMartin because the tunnel aspect has become so integral to the myth. And the fact of the matter is they did find something, but it was trash. It was antique trash. And I got to tell you, I would have so much fun digging through that. That would just be so fun to dig in the dirt and find like a glass bottle from like the 1930s. I'd be like, oh my God, I want to die here. But yeah, there was nothing in McMartin, and the minute that they started talking about being flushed down toilets or transported in hot air balloons, and the time one of the kids pointed to a picture of Chuck Norris and said that he was one of the people who molested them, like the whole thing should have just been stopped. I mean, what, you're going to ignore that kid saying Chuck Norris molested them? Well, you should have been hauling Chuck Norris in there.
Mm-hmm.
It's just
I'm curious if there's any follow-up today though. Like I wonder if the parents have ever been like, oh, we fucked up, right? Like
I know some of the kids like took out an ad in like a Los Angeles paper apologizing or something like that, and like and the Buckies were like, you don't owe us an apology, you were little kids. It was your parents that did
right.
this, you know.
Like it wasn't your fault. Oh, that's
I will go mudlarking with you, whatever that means. I imagine it means digging in the dirt, and I'm okay with that.
Oh, I wonder if they made a movie on that. I don't know, Sandy. I'm gonna have to look. I've never really followed up on the McMartin trial, like any documentaries or anything like that. But I'm gonna have to look into that. And somebody mentioned there was another one too. I think it was April about Michelle Remembers. Like there was a more recent one done. So I'm gonna look at that too. I've got some reading to do and some new documentaries to watch. So I'm gonna check those out.
Where last year, actually, a little 6-year-old girl called Lisa Steinberg was murdered, allegedly by her own step-parents. Well, that trial for the murder of that little girl opened here in New York today. There were some shocking developments. The defense attorney stated that in some way the parents, or at least one of them, was a member of a satanic cult. That just today here in New York. We're joined now by Ry Terran, author of The Ultimate Evil. He has been studying this and other satanic cases. Why do you believe the satanic cult had something to do with this case of Lisa Steinberg?
Well, in the first instance, Geraldo, police removed demonology books from the Steinberg and Nussbaum apartment in New York. In the second place, I have seen writings done by Hedda Nussbaum, the adoptive mother of Lisa, if you will, in which she admitted that she was involved with a cult on Long Island that practiced rituals and conducted pornography and were involved in child pornography.
What's this?
Here is Hedda's diary.
This is her own diary?
Hedda's point book diary from 1983.
You can expect to be subpoenaed after this, sir.
Yes, and in it you can see here that Hedda was calling deprogrammers, cult deprogrammers, back in the fall of 1983 in order to try to get herself out of this group in Long Island that she had gotten involved with.
You have a sketch drawn by Lisa?
We found in the Steinberg apartment a sketch drawn by Lisa in her own hand.
Look at it, ladies and gentlemen.
That's drawn by Lisa Steinberg with the satanic pentagram on it and with the descending crescent moon above it. This, I was told, confirmed by a principal involved in the case, that this was the costume that Lisa wore at the rituals on Long Island, and that the costume scared her. I was also told by a principal involved in the case that they put makeup on Lisa in order to make her look more like an adult, and she hated wearing the makeup. The prosecution is trying to present this case as a simple homicide. What I'm saying to you here now is that there is a lot more evidence in this case. The case goes much deeper than is being portrayed as going, and it's evidence that we're revealing here tonight.
That's Ry Terran, isn't it? I missed the guy's name.
Yes.
I looked down for a second. He is such a fucking nutter. He is the one who wrote the Son of Sam book. I can't think of the name of it right now. Or is it a Manson book he wrote? Which one did he write? Son of Sam? Which one did Ry Terran write? He wrote one about one of them. I've read it. I can't think because I read so many true crime books. And it is just this fantastical story that he just makes leaps and bounds, and everybody ran with it. Yeah, that's it. The Ultimate Evil. Yep, that's him.
It's the Search for the Sons of Sam.
There we go.
Yeah, I've read that.
Yep, that's him. Yep, Ry Terran. Yep. Boy, did he do a lot of damage in the true crime series and add a whole bunch of bunk to all that. Yep, that's Ry Terran right there. That is him. Ugh. While we're paused here, there's an interesting, it was a podcast first, and the book's supposed to be coming out in English because I talked to the documentary and the podcaster on Twitter back on my personal account some years ago whenever I watched the documentary in 2021. It's called Veleno, The Town of Lost Children. It's on Prime. I'll put the link down there. And it's about Italy in the late 1990s. It's when Satanic Panic was going on. And it's about a small community that was disrupted by a number of cases of pedophilia and Satanism, and 16 children that were removed from their families because they said they were running a pedophile ring. And 20 years later, they go back to investigate it and sheds doubt on the case and everything. And it's pretty typical of what happened in the McMartin trial. But he did write a book, and he told me it was coming out in English when I was talking to him about the documentary and everything. But it is great. It does have subtitles, of course, because it's in Italian, but it is a really good documentary.
Okay, I thought you were going to say something else because there was a girl that went missing at the Vatican around that time. I'm going to put the link.
No, totally different stuff. This is about a town where 19 children got taken away. Total different.
Okay. Yeah, check out the link that I just posted. It is very, very strange. Very strange. And it broke off like some satanic panic in Italy at the time.
No, but this documentary that this guy does, like, it was a podcast first, and then, like I said, they went and they made the documentary. And I just happened to be searching for something during the, pandemic, because it was 2021, of course, you're stuck at home. And I was like, what is this? And I was enthralled. It's really interesting, and the way they document and go through everything. But it's really good, and it fits in with what we were talking. I couldn't remember the name. That's what I was searching for. That's why I missed the name there. I was like, wait, that's Ry Terran. I haven't seen him as looking that young and youthful because this is from the 80s. And I was like, that's that guy who wrote that stupid book that everybody cites for, because he's the one who pushes the theory about Charles Manson having links with the Process Church. Like, he's the one who originally, like, kind of put that into the zeitgeist and got it out there, like, with the media, and it's in his book. Like, he was not the original, of course, because that was what's his name, from the family, Ed Sanders. But Ry Terran goes even further with it, so with different links and stuff. But yeah, he like goes even further. So yeah, he adds to it.
Should certainly graphically illustrate that fact. We'll be right back, folks.
Look around you on the streets of America and prepare yourself for a whole new world.
I'm Nick. Who are you? All stars in the halls of infamy out there. Berkeley, Lucas, Ramirez,
oh, here we go.
And Manson.
We're going to start cooking now.
Stars in the halls of infamy. But the vast majority of these ritual murders are not the work of a celebrated psychopath. There are literally hundreds of cases most of us have never heard of.
The Geraldo Rivera special, Devil Worship, will continue.
I keep getting tricked by pictures of Manson.
Dilemma. Where to put
$527 on selected 1988 Broncos.
The one I was
KB Toy Store
commercials.
I know, right?
Exposing Satan's Underground continues.
Welcome back. The subject is Satanism, and I've been asked repeatedly where the idea to do it came from. Well, it goes back to someone that I interviewed for our special last spring on murder and the frightening fascination verging on adoration that so many people felt for this person. A murderer who would have us believe that he is the incarnation of the devil. Here's Charles Manson.
Okay, I killed everybody since day one. I've murdered them all. I'm God and I've killed everybody.
Or the devil.
Or the devil, yeah. You can use the word devil or demons or whatever you want to call it.
Mostly the devil in your world.
Well, okay, I'll play. There's no game I can't play. There's no game I haven't played.
You are the devil. Here.
Okay, I'll be devil then.
Along with Hitler,
he'll play.
Cult leader
He
Charles
will.
Manson is today's top satanic
He's
celebrity.
fucking crazy.
Yeah,
He'll play anything.
I chopped up 9 hogs, and I'm going to chop up some more, you I'm going to kill you as many as I can. I'm going to pile you up to the sky.
Responsible for at least 9 ritual murders, Manson is revered by many modern-day devil worshippers who have adopted his philosophy of the mass extermination of those they consider unfit to live.
We would like to see most of the human race killed off because it is unworthy.
Whoa! Nicholas Schreck. I forgot he makes an appearance in this. To clarify too, he is no longer. He is like what, a Buddhist now? If I'm correct.
I believe so. Yeah.
I think he's like a Buddhist, and he's left all of this. He's kind of edgelordy in this. I totally forgot he was in this.
It is unworthy of the gift of life.
Nicholas Schreck visited Charlie at San Quentin. Keeps a picture of his hero on his apartment wall.
He was he married to
as if it were
Zena at this time?
Relic.
A bloodbath would be a cleansing and a purification
at this time,
of
I
the
believe
planet
so, but
that has been dirtied and degraded for too long.
David Berkowitz, the son of Sam, was also a Satanist, the serial killer who terrorized New York while murdering 5 young women and seriously wounding at least
David Berkowitz says he was a Satanist. I don't think that's ever really, that was one of his stories he came out with, and that he was a Processian, and he was part of the Process Church, and there was all this. David Berkowitz has said a lot of stuff. Man's a consummate liar.
Others. Berkowitz was deeply involved in bizarre rituals. So was Henry Lee Lucas, who told police he murdered his girlfriend, his mother, and others across the country.
Doing a lot of reaching here,
Geraldo. A satanic cult.
Why do they want to kill people? It's supposed to be for the reincarnation of the devil.
And when a series of ritualistic rapes and murders hit Southern California, it should have come as no surprise that Richard Ramirez, the alleged Night Stalker, worshipped the devil.
Hail Satan. Hail Satan.
Hail Satan. Hail a belief system that exalts sadistic murder, torture, ritualistic suicide, and racial purity.
This has historically been a sacred day.
Boyd Rice.
A day of purification. A day of hell and fury. We mourn not its victims. We honor its victors. In closing, I would remind those here that murder is the predator's prerogative, and there is no murder without blood.
I am going to. We did. Oh, go ahead, Quacks. Why I pull up? What I'm going to pull up. Go ahead.
A lot of crossover going on with our Spencer Sunshine.
That's what I was just going to pull up. I was like, let me pull up. I'm going to pull up our podcast we did with Spencer Sunshine, and I'm also going to pull up his Boyd Rice piece that he does. He does a nice talk about Boyd Rice for anybody interested. That's exactly where I was going with. I was like, there's so much crossover here. Like, it would take us forever to talk about each little piece here because there's just so much. But be easier to listen to the podcast episode we did with Spencer Sunshine and to check out the YouTube that he did on Boyd Rice.
Berkowitz, Lucas, Ramirez, and Manson are the all-stars in the halls of infamy.
I know I follow
but
Spencer.
The vast majority of these ritual murders are not the work of the celebrated psychopaths. There are literally hundreds of cases most of us have never heard of. Like this satanic murder in Denver, Colorado, where the victim was handcuffed, chained, and slaughtered. Authorities claim that before he died, the victim participated in drinking his own blood. Or this diabolical example in the city by the bay.
Here in a rundown San Francisco neighborhood far from the tourist attractions and the Golden Gate Bridge, a satanic cult committed crimes of incredible brutality. This is the story of that cult and of its leader, a devil-worshipping murderer named Clifford St. Joseph.
The body was tucked underneath the front.
Oh, well, that's nice. Spencer added our podcast to his playlist. That was easy to find. Thanks, Spencer. I was going to look for something else, and it was right there. All right,
And super, super nice guy. I got to go see him speak live up in San Francisco, and he was so impressed because like the whole back of the bar, which was set aside for him, he only expected a handful of people. Like 30 people showed up, and it was just this nice collection of people. And like he was waiting for me when I got there, and like we were hanging out and talking. It just a really, really nice person, very well educated, very well informed. Like the work that he did is just, I can't imagine all the hours on hours of just, so it's amazing. And, you know, I've seen some of his posts on Blue Sky, and like, he's a doctor, you know, in a sociologist, and it's like, he's struggling with like work and stuff like that. So I would just say like everybody like buy his book, um, or like share the links for his podcast, you know, that we did with him and his book. But I just, there are some people that like you get a chance to talk to and they really stick with you. And he was just such a cool guy. And like I really I really
Follow him on
enjoy
Blue
talking
Sky. Here's his
about
Blue
music.
Sky link too. Quacks just shared too.
Yeah,
Yeah, he's a great follow.
Great guy. Yeah.
And I put down his Boyd Rice link, our interview that we did with him. Yeah, really great follow. Great guy. He really is. Like, I was like, oh my gosh, we're, you know, interviewing Spencer Sunshine. Then after I started talking about it, I was like, he is like chill and laid back. Like, go hang out with him, have a beer, you know, whatever. Like, it's
It
just
was like
so.
talking to someone we had known for years or something, you know,
Yeah.
like when we sat down with him, it felt very comfortable.
Really cool guy.
Wheels on the curbside, wrapped in yellow blankets and tied with guitar string.
What was the condition of the body when you found it?
It had a number of unusual wounds on it. One of the most
Look at that old
unusual
hat.
things
That's
was
a
a
detective hat
design
right there.
carved into the chest of the individual. And once we examined it more closely, it was an upside-down pentagram.
The Devil's Pentagram, the inverted five-pointed star found on the unidentified corpse of St. Joseph's victim, is apparently the principal signature of Satanists. Like a recurring nightmare, it shows up at crime scenes and in their graffiti everywhere. At St. Joseph's apartment, where this grisly murder was committed, I talked to Ed, a fringe member of the cult, and the state star witness.
What was going on in this apartment? They asked me if I had ever thought about killing somebody just to watch them die, and they asked me if I would like to join a satanic cult.
Ritual crime was apparently a regular occurrence at this apartment.
Wait a
In
second.
this case of torture and murder,
93.
the victim has never been identified.
Hold on a second. Why is this guy not?
Fringe member of the cult and the state star witness.
What was going on in this apartment? They asked me if I had ever thought about killing somebody just to watch them die, and they asked me if I would like to join a satanic cult.
Ritual crime was apparently a regular occurrence at this apartment. In this case of torture and murder, the victim has never been identified.
I didn't mean to do that.
For purposes of this case, he was called
Why are you not in
John
jail,
Doe
sir?
number 60.
You're doing all this shit.
That would be to the lips. That sealed the person's mouth for all eternity. They also poured wax, I guess, in the eyes, and that sealed their eyes for all eternity.
Okay.
They did much more to John Doe number 60, but we'll spare you the details. Caught and convicted of murder, kidnapping, and ritual abuse, St. Joseph and another cult member are currently serving long prison sentences. Ed remains free, although he claims only to have been a reluctant participant in the murder of John Doe 60. He does admit bringing a teenager here to be chained up and ritualistically abused.
What?
How can you say you have no guilt when you bring a 17-year-old kid in here, you help shackle him to a radiator, and then participate in his torture and sexual abuse? Well, I never participated in torture, and no torture was allowed of him. You were having sex with a kid who's chained up. What are you talking about? Well, Ricky, first of all, likes that type of sex. What was going on here is a nightmare.
Listen, he likes that type of sex, right? I was just, this is so absurd. Geraldo, like, I think Geraldo is like trying to kind of be a journalist here for a hot second, but he's like, I got to get back to making that money, guys. Sorry. Like, none of this has to make sense to Geraldo. Like, come the fuck on. Jesus. I also put, for some people I know, like if you don't use YouTube and you like to listen to the Spotify links there too for the Spencer podcast episode.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is a nightmare.
Exactly, D. He's 17. It doesn't matter what kind of sex he likes. It was a kid.
Case still at large.
In this particular case, yes, we do know we have one person identified, other man identified who was present during this particular homicide.
Do you think that this ritualistic stuff is spreading?
It's all over the United States and probably all over the world because it's just something that people are experimenting with now.
Satan means whatever I'm looking at, whatever I want it to mean. It's on my forehead. It's me if I can get up on the highway. It's everything that human beings don't understand. It's all their fears. It's what they're not sure of. You dig what I'm saying? Satan to me would be God.
That man is so repugnant. All of these satanic murderers are.
Right.
The acts that they have been convicted of committing are so horrible that the question could fairly be raised again, why are we doing this broadcast? We are doing it, ladies and gentlemen, because it's our feeling that these cases are too often overlooked, too often underreported.
Because they don't exist.
There's a widespread
Geraldo.
problem here that you deserve, that you need to know about. Joining us right now via satellite, we have another convicted satanic murderer. His name is Charles Gervais. He is currently serving a life sentence in Angola Penitentiary in Louisiana. Mr. Gervais, why, in Satan's name, did you hammer and strangle to death an innocent person? Did you really think, sir, that they were going to give you 10,000 souls, this devil?
Well, Robert, I can't talk about my case.
Get to the point about Satanism, Charlie.
Geraldo's like, God damn it. I want to know about them souls.
Okay. There's a lot of confusion in it, and it's mostly people that really don't understand.
Listen, what about this 10,000 souls, Buster? That's what I want to know about.
Well, that's what I've got into Satanism for.
Why?
Why? Because it possesses power.
Where were you going to get this power? Where were you going to use this power?
In hell.
In hell. You're going to kill a person on earth to get the power of 10,000 souls in hell? Are you sick?
No.
Why aren't you condemned to die?
Why aren't I?
Yeah. Did you use Satanism as a defense?
Yes.
Ted Gunderson.
Well, that was fascinating. Way to go, Geraldo. That went great. You really got a lot out of that, didn't you? What the hell?
I wasn't paying attention before the last couple of times I watched it and missed his facial expressions.
Oh my gosh.
Like what is going on there?
What was that? Woo! Yeah, me too, Quacks. I mostly when I'm watching, I'm more listening to it. Like I have my earbuds in, or I can only wear one. Actually.
Exactly.
Yeah, and I'll be doing stuff, walking around. So watching it and focusing is much different. Yeah, I'm picking up on a lot more.
FBI
Teddy, we watched parts of this 2 weeks ago when we covered him.
Former head of the regional office in Los Angeles. Is there a network of these satanic murderers in this country, do you allege?
I can go to the restroom on Ted Gunderson because I know what he says.
I can say that based on information furnished to me by confidential sources and informants, based on interviews with dozens of survivors from the satanic operations through the years, satanic beliefs, etc., I can say that there is a network of these people across the country who are very active. They have their own rest and relaxation farm.
Uh-oh. You there, Steph?
Yeah, I'm here. I had put in the private chat that I was running to feed the cat.
Let's go.
All right.
From John Carpenter.
Okay, here she comes again.
They control what you see.
We have been lulled into
Oh,
They
yes.
decide what you hear.
I came here to chew bubble gum and kick ass,
You think they're
and I'm all out of bubble
just
gum.
like you. What do these things want, and why are they here? You're wrong.
This has the best fight scene of any 80s movie where
Dead
they're like
wrong.
fighting for 5
John
minutes
Carpenter.
and then they're like,
They
okay,
live.
we're
Rated
friends
R.
again, let's
Starts
make
Friday,
up.
November
And then
4th
they
at theaters
start
everywhere.
fighting again. And the fight scene just keeps going and going and going and going. It's such a great movie, man. That was the best part so far of this video was that
What, They Live?
Yes.
I love that movie. Well, we can
I mean,
muse
John
about rest and
Carpenter.
we can
I
muse about
mean,
rest and relaxation farms and if they would suck more or less than RFK Jr.'s. Yeah, it is a great movie.
Muggsy, you have to see Prince of Darkness. It is the best John Carpenter movie. It is the creepiest. Alice Cooper is in it. It is so amazing. The dream sequence, oh, gives me nightmares. Love it.
Gunderson's here too. It has it everything. Muggsy, there is so much in this 2-hour special. It is a gish gallop. That was the perfect phrase whenever Quack said that. Like they just throw everything at you. Like it's so overwhelming.
One reason we think you haven't heard more about them is that many satanic crimes are simply not recognized as such. Take a look at this report, please.
These ritualistic crimes are everywhere, and yet in most communities they are either overlooked or underreported. There's an example going on right now here in Kansas City that tells why. In this house in a quiet residential neighborhood, a series of brutally violent, horrible crimes have been committed, and yet the police and prosecutor in this town seem either unable or unwilling to draw the obvious connection between what happened here and Satanism.
All I know is the whole thing was evil.
This 22-year-old, call him Jay,
Call him
escaped
Jay.
from the House of
Can't
Horrors
tell who he
wearing
is.
only a dog collar. For 4 days, he had been ritualistically tortured by a man named Bob Burdella.
He took the
God.
transformer.
You did
hooked
not
it
mask
to
him
a
very well at
post
all,
and
Geraldo.
Stepped back and took pictures while I'm flopping around.
What a sick dog.
It seemed to never end, you know.
After Jay escaped through a window by burning the rope that bound him to the bed, the police arrested Burdella. When they searched his home, they found over 250 photographs of young men, including Jay, in the process of being tortured, in some cases fatally. Hidden in the walls of the home, they also found a human skull.
He had pictures of guys that he had did things to. Kids tied up.
Bordello is
and
one of the
with
most
Mark-
insane monsters. The shit that he did.
Mm-hmm.
Shit that he
Oh,
did
I
was
know.
So, like, he filled the one guy's ear with, like, putty or something. Like, it was like Mengele levels of torture and torment. And God bless the guy that got away. And you're not supposed to see them. You're not supposed to go looking for them, but some of the photos are online. The one guy is just skin and bones. He was just starved so bad. Bordella didn't need Satan to be evil. I think one of the things, and this has been going on for hundreds of years, thousands of years, is humanity can't grasp the fact, the idea of evil. We have this concept of black and white, good and evil, heaven and hell, God, Satan, all that. But what we don't understand is that evil is internal. And in the early days of like psychology and psychiatry, what did they call the people who studied them? They called them alienists.
Mm-hmm.
Because it was this concept of something external. The evil is an internal thing. And that is hard for people to comprehend. So when someone like Charles Manson or someone like Bordella, someone out there goes out and does horrible things, it can't just be because this person has a broken brain. Because, and I'm not sympathizing with them, but that clinically, physiologically, when their brains are scanned, they show, I think it's like the frontal, one of the areas for like empathy, sympathy, and like social interactions, it doesn't light up in an fMRI. Now, these are, so I just wanted to clarify, I'm not sympathizing with killers, but they don't need Satan.
No.
They don't need an external force to do evil. Evil, you know, Chris Watts didn't need Satan. He was Satan, if you want to put, you know what I mean? It's, the evil is in you, but it's not a demon. It's not an infestation. It's not a hypnosis. What it is there's something broken in your brain.
Yep.
That's what, you know, or just say, hey, this is a sick fuck. You don't need Satan to be a sick fuck. I just wanted to add that because there's such a overwhelming need, and it seems to be increasing more and more, to externalize the internal.
Yeah.
And
no, I agree.
And unless we realize that bad comes from us, it originates. You could still believe in God, but you don't have to always be looking externally. They seem to miss the concept, and I think that's where so much of this stuff comes from. If you want to, you know, if you want to find evil, you look in the mirror. Well, in some cases, I'm not saying everyone's evil, but you know, it's just really, it just seems so shallow to always look for, you know, like, oh, the Satan made me cheat on my wife. No,
No, I
dude,
know.
you cheated on your wife because you were horny, and you know, it really is. I don't know. Everyone's crazy. That's all I wanted to say.
No, you're right.
Fun things.
Apparently, Burdella would pick up young men, usually hustlers like Joe. Many of them runaways who cluster in Kansas City Strip.
I need $25.
For a small amount of money, these kids go anywhere to do anything with anyone. Unfortunately, some went home with Burdella, whose involvement with devil worship was easily apparent. There was, for example, a satanic symbol on the outside wall of his house. His business card seemed straight from hell, and he ran this macabre shop of horrors, possibly stocking it with his own unique hobby. By agreement with the district attorney, Burdella was allowed to plead to one count of murder. He received a life sentence, but many people in this community are outraged that the investigation went no further.
Did the police pursue these allegations of satanic involvement?
The police department, it's my understanding, called in some people who knew about witchcraft to talk to them about that. That particular aspect of the case basically went nowhere.
County legislator Carol Cole disagrees.
Why do you think there is no attention being paid to that ritual aspect of this case?
You're in the heart of America, the Bible Belt.
The Bible
and
Belt.
We hate to think that people like that live next door to us.
It's the
We're
Bible
turning our
Belt.
backs on acting like it doesn't happen. We're putting our hands over our eyes as if it didn't occur here, that it was just a murder.
This is Detective Lee Orr of the neighboring Kansas City, Kansas Police Department.
Do you believe there is a satanic aspect to these horrible crimes?
Yes, I'm sure there is, yes.
We've also had contact with people that have come out of the occult, Satan worship, who have definitely made statements and who I've interviewed that state that Mr. Burdella was involved at a higher level than most in the occult.
If these allegations exist, as we merit you that they do, isn't it reasonable that if you pursued them with vigor, you might find evidence that could pin more of these crimes on this man, that might help solve some of the cases of missing children and missing young adults that you have in this and surrounding communities?
There isn't any question that if there are people who have information about him being involved in witchcraft or Satanism, and that information has not been given to us, that we would love to have it because it would be further leads that we could follow.
Here perhaps are some leads for investigators to follow. Item. Police reports obtained by us show local authorities have long been aware that devil worshippers were conducting large-scale ceremonies in the Kansas City area. Item.
This young man says he was an eyewitness to a sexual orgy at Burdella's house, one with heavy satanic overtones. And item. This woman claims she met Burdella through her former husband, a high priest in a local satanic cult.
We were at a meeting in the area, and he was up on the platform in a throne, which symbolizes that that sacrifice at that particular meeting was for him, was done for him.
So he was in an exalted position. He was a VIP.
Yes, he was.
What happened there at that ceremony?
There was a young man killed, a young boy. He was 16 years old.
Did you ever tell the police about any of this?
No, I didn't.
Why?
People don't believe you when you talk about these things. People just do not
Geraldo
believe
sure
these
is
things
taking in
happen.
a lot of crimes
Remember,
and hearing a lot about a lot of
aside
shit.
from the torture and sodomy of Jay, who escaped, Burdella has pled guilty to just one murder, a runaway whose skull was found inside his house. A second murder charge is pending. Yet police sources tell us Burdella is suspected in at least 7 homicides. When they excavated his backyard, they found remains of 3 people. Paul Howell believes his missing 19-year-old son was among them.
They found a head right up here, I believe.
A skull?
A skull right up in this area somewhere.
It is one thing for law enforcement to be uninformed. It's quite another, though, for them to refuse to follow known leads. Paul Howell alleges they did exactly that, with the information he provided from his own investigation. For 3 years.
Boy, howdy, are they lucky they created a video in 1994 to train law enforcement officials on satanic ritual abuse and tracking these crimes. It's like an hour long. I found the whole video. Of course, we're not going to watch it tonight, but there is like in an article, there's a clip of it. It is so ridiculous. I'm just going to show it here real quick.
Please tell me it has yakety sax as the background music.
I wish. Let me know if you can hear when I play it. Can you see the screen? Is it showing what? Oh, I didn't share. Oh, it unshared. Hold on one second. Share screen. I said switch tab, but I guess it decided it wasn't going to do that. Okay, there it is. All right. Hopefully we can hear this.
In investigating homicides, there are some
you hear it?
very obvious ritualistic markings that will appear on a body that is the result of satanic killings. Oftentimes a cut that goes from behind the ear all the way down to the throat. There's wax laid on it to cover it up afterwards, after the body has deceased. Another area that you might find satanic ritual carving is in the stomach area. Note again the points representing again the goat's head. Now, as you look at the body of a person such as this, please note each and every one of these markings. But whatever it is, if you look just a little bit deeper, ask a few more questions, and note to the investigators more information, it could lead to the solution of other crimes that have been just passively sitting on the desk without any clues.
It's more absurd too whenever you see it, and maybe someday we'll review it because the whole thing is quite ridiculous, or maybe we'll just include it on some other time if we run out of things to do. But it is a classic police training video on satanic panic. I watched some of it and I was dying when they review it. Like, I can't believe they created it. Never mind. It was a booming business, right? And they said that in that Missouri thing, like, you know, you had the psychiatry field, psychology, all these new experts were coming in because they knew about these, you know, techniques and stuff. So of course, police training videos would take off and people coming in to train police in these, you know, this stuff. So I can't believe it. It's quite funny.
Years, he says. He begged them to investigate Burdella's suspected connection with his boy's disappearance.
I dug through his trash and found different things. At one time, I thought it was dog remains. Later on,
Now
after
this
the
guy was
investigation,
fucking
police
sick,
come in
like Steph
3
said.
years later, I found out that this is the way they said Bob disposed of some of the waste of the human remains. He put them in dog food bags and set them out in the trash.
What must it be like to a father to think that his own son was disposed of in pieces in someone's garbage?
It's just very upsetting, naturally, and want to get even. You want to find everybody that's involved beside Bob and hope that they don't happen to anybody else's kids.
It apparently also happened to Harriet's kid,
Bonnie's husband, James, who disappeared in 1985.
When James first disappeared, even, we begged him to do something to go in Berdella's house to get a search warrant for any reason to try to find my son in there, because it had been told to us that he was possibly chained up in the house in there.
Photographs of James' tortured, apparently murdered body were among those seized by police.
Will you charge Berdella with the murder of James Ferris?
That is not something that I can tell you yes or no.
Will you charge Berdella with the murder of Jerry Howell?
And again, I can't tell you whether or not there will be charges brought against Mr. Berdella or anybody else for the murder of Mr. Howell.
Is it possible that by narrowing the focus of the investigation, people who are involved in these awful acts are still free?
Yes, there's no question about it. You cannot subdue individuals and photograph them, and you're in the photos by yourself. So there is a great implication that somebody else that participated in this is still at loose, and they're at large in this city, and you're going to be reading about it again in the next 12, 16 months.
I hope she's not right, but stand up. This is Detective Sergeant Lee Orr from the Kansas City, Kansas Police Department. You saw him in the video piece. This is retired Detective Michael McKee of the Kansas City, Missouri Police Department. Gentlemen, the Kansas City Star is reporting as late as yesterday that the district attorney in your community is still insisting that the Berdella case of serial murders or alleged serial murders is not related to Satanism, is not a ritual crime. You were one of
Wow, I didn't even realize whenever I picked up on that Missouri timeline thing that I picked up from the Missouri, was that the Historical Society or Library, that this case would deal with Missouri and them trying to link it to Satanism. How serendipitous that I did pick that, and it went through the timeline of Satanic Panic and them trying to link every crime they could to Satanism. So that worked out quite well.
the first cops on the scene. Do you believe that this case is satanically related?
It's my opinion that it is. We recovered a ceremonial robe from the bedroom.
For Hatters further down?
Excavated the backyard and dug up the skull in the backyard. It was buried with a jar of feathers and had some burnt wood with it. We also recovered numerous books on the occult from the residence of Mr. Berdella.
Now, whether these cases are not being treated as ritual crimes because of embarrassment to the community or because it's easier for cops just to prosecute them as simple homicides, we don't know. Coming up next, we have talked in this program so far, and you have heard the words about child abuse. A woman by the name of Cheryl Horton and others tell an even more grotesque story, ladies and gentlemen.
I know her face.
Having babies to be turned over for human sacrifice to Satan. And we'll deal with that when we come back.
Could be God.
It will last for generations.
Is obviously impossible to know. For your young children,
get them out of the room now.
Get them out of the room
not out
or
already.
change the
Now.
station. We urge you to exercise parental discretion. It has been established, as you have already seen on this program, in courts of law now, that human sacrifice...
Meanwhile, Geraldo started this show with like a dead body he showed like on, like, and he's like keeps saying, get the kids out of the room, get them out. Okay, Geraldo.
Sacrifice is sometimes an element in rituals performed by people calling themselves Satanists. There is no longer any doubt about that, though just how often it actually is done is obviously impossible to know. The ideal sacrifice, we are told, apparently requires babies. And there are those. People in satanic sex, including mothers who have belonged, who tell of babies being bred for sacrifice. Take a look, please.
Read what they do, Ry. They use blood in their rituals, and the blood has the most power as baby's blood.
In the classic horror film Rosemary's Baby, Mia Farrow was thrown into the clutches of a satanic cult.
I know,
and is married
right?
to the devil.
This is no dream. This is really happening.
She conceives the Antichrist, providing the group with a living symbol of Satan to be worshipped and adored.
God is dead! Satan lives!
As sickening and unbelievable as it sounds, bearing children for use in satanic rituals may really be happening.
My daughter, who I named Wendy, was sacrificed at birth with an upside-down cross and then taken outside and buried. My son, they kept and let live till 2 years old, and then he was sacrificed.
Michael and I had a son, and he was dedicated to Satan at birth, and at 6 months of age, he was sacrificed to Satan. It is most common for the heart to be taken from the child and offered to Satan.
These women say they speak from personal experience. They claim to be breeders, forced by covens to bear children, both as a way for the cults to get new members and to find fresh victims for ritual murder.
Did you give birth to infants who were sacrificed?
My first two
Were sacrificed?
were sacrificed. I was told it was the highest honor I could ever do as a woman, was to sacrifice my first two.
And you did that?
I was so brainwashed, I believed their philosophy.
Jackie tells us she was able to escape her satanic cult. Today she helps other women, like Donna, who are trying to break free.
You killed your babies?
Former breeder.
Skin off.
You skin the baby? You take the baby's skin off? Do you feel remorse? Have you told the police?
I had to do what I had to do, or I'd be killed like the baby that they...
All of these cases, they never tell the police. And this is the same thing that we've run into with Pam Hemphill. Like, she has a similar story, and the interview's out there. She did it in like 2023. She tells them Michelle remembers, and like a satanic panic story where her mom was a serial killer and she witnessed these body parts everywhere. And like they were putting blood, like body parts in wine vats and stuff. It's so fantastical. And like, you're an adult now of age, your mother's dead. Why aren't you like, maybe, I don't know, telling the police, you know, hey, this really horrible thing happened. I'm an adult now. I don't have to be afraid. Like, nobody reports any of these fantastical stories and crimes they've heard about or they lived through. I mean, come on now.
That they made me watch killed, and that they put
all these cults around
and they said,
doing all this shit.
This is you.
Jackie, you have some pictures drawn during your therapy sessions by the people who've been through this. Why don't you show me some of them?
No.
She doesn't sound like she's playing with a full deck.
No, it sounds like Pam's story. Yeah.
There's something
Not at
wrong. Like, and it just, America is so stupid. I'm sorry.
I know.
Go ahead.
I know. No, it is. I agree. And I think for a lot of people, and I've said this, like, there's some trauma in their life that did happen, like when they latch onto these stories or something did happen that makes it easier to do this than to face the reality of whatever occurred in their life, right? Like whether it's, you know, physical, mental, whatever abuse it was, like something I think probably happened. And they unfortunately latched onto this type of stuff.
This picture is a person remembering skinning children and babies and hanging it out to dry. Skinning them, taking the skin off alive while they are alive, and skin them until they die.
And that's how your babies died?
They took a little patch about 3 by 4 off of her stomach, skinned her, and said,
"Shame
we'll
on you,
skin you all
Geraldo.
the way if you talk or cry." You learn not to cry real fast.
I don't cry.
For their part, mainstream Satanists strongly deny these gruesome allegations. Zena is the daughter of Anton LaVey, founder of the modern-day Church of Satan.
That's a popular misconception, too, is that children are sacrificed at the altar, that animals are used for sacrifices. And it's a horrible, horrible misconception.
This is real hard for the police because they can never find proof, and that's because the bodies are sometimes consumed for communion, sometimes burnt, sometimes put in concrete.
For proof, the women offered a few grisly photos. But as the Satanists are quick to point out, the images of death and decay are impossible to verify.
These middle-class housewives that are worried that we want to abduct their children are barking at the wrong tree because we wouldn't want anything to do with their whole mediocre and corrupt lifestyle.
Because the charges are so bizarre, most mental health
I'm only
professionals
laughing because I
distance
know
themselves
how this
from the entire area of Satanism.
Here in Denver, Colorado, the Bethesda Psychiatric Institute has become the first in the country to devote an entire department to treating the victims of ritual crime.
Oh my gosh.
Can we believe these stories of sacrifice?
I believe we need to believe them. They sound bizarre. They sound beyond the capacity of human beings. But the stories we receive are tremendously consistent.
Is this an epidemic?
I believe involvement in Satanism is increasing. I believe it is present in many communities around our country, and I believe it demands our attention.
But somebody is apparently trying to discourage scrutiny. We've talked to therapists who treat ritual abuse victims, and they tell us of the threats they've received.
I have direct knowledge of both death threats on a therapist and an attempt to end that therapist's life, which was unsuccessful.
Here in Chicago, a group of well-known therapists from all over the country had the courage to share horror stories of threats and intimidation.
Therapists have been directly threatened in ways that are quite alarming to them. The patient indicated to me that she wished to sacrifice the child with which she was pregnant. Naturally, I wasn't enthusiastic about this. Shortly after this
Naturally,
occurred,
I wasn't
started
enthusiastic
to get
about this?
telephone death threats.
One of the things that I would add is that we are now hearing these reports from literally hundreds of therapists in every part of the United States.
Someone out there is telling us to back off.
Still, the greatest toll seems to be on the women who say that they have bred babies. Babies that were sacrificed for Satan.
I will probably have nightmares tonight about it, as I have about my Joey that I have been talking about. I wake up screaming for him now in the middle of the night. I dream that he's lost and I'm trying to find him.
Sickening, so incredibly outrageous, so incredibly unbelievable. But Zena LeVay, are these women lying?
You have to understand that every single thing you've given as examples of Satanism here are completely from a Christian standpoint. That everything you've put forth as being considered satanic is not considered satanic by my standard or my definition of Satanism.
Lying?
Well, have the bodies been found? Where are they?
Cheryl Horton, who joins us via satellite from Los Angeles. Cheryl Horton. Zena LeVay, a Satanist who A, points out that this is not in keeping with her teaching, but B says, where is the proof? Where is the proof? Why is there no proof if what you're saying is true?
Hi, Geraldo. There's no proof for a fact of one thing. They burn the bodies. They either do that, they'll chop them up and dump them in the ocean, or they'll pour them in concrete, or they take and they use them for communion, eat them, and then make bones out of the tools.
Cheryl, listen.
These people are doing murder.
Let me interrupt you. Cheryl, please, let me interrupt you. The stories, dump in the ocean, chop up the bodies, these things, they sound like they can't be happening. Ted Gunnarsson.
Oh, God, Ted again.
Respected law enforcement professional, recently or retired now from the FBI, former regional director of Los Angeles.
Respected.
Do you, sir,
Respected my ass.
believe that these dreadful allegations of babies being sacrificed are true?
I absolutely believe it, without any doubt. Based on the information that's been given to me across the country by numerous survivors and by confidential sources and informants.
Why don't you name these people and arrest them? Never a name, never an arrest.
Michael
These
does
women
such a
come
good
out of
job
the
here.
group, and they insist that they know the people in the group, and yet they do not identify these large, mysterious cults. Name them and arrest them and get them off the street.
Does he not make a valid point?
I'll
give him credit for that.
The problem with that is, number one, police officers don't believe it. I may believe it. You may believe it. Some people in your audience may believe it. They don't believe it. Number two, if you decide to investigate these people, you have to, number one, handle it from an undercover operation. If you put an undercover operation into effect, then you have, in a sense, your own police officers become involved in these heinous crimes, and they are, of course, become murderers. And in addition to that, if you do decide to investigate,
I didn't notice you disappeared. I missed
there's
you
a lot of
go.
work. And many law enforcement officers
I was like
are
really
after
into
that
this.
and don't want to get involved.
Ladies and gentlemen, you have heard this. The debate here could rage over this issue alone for hours and hours and hours.
I wish, oh shit.
Xena, I think what she was trying to get across there, but Geraldo wasn't picking up, is like what Satanism is to official, like Levian Satanism, is not what Christianity sees Satanism as, is like what their Satan is and what they picture everything as. And she was trying to get that across, but Geraldo was just like, blah, 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 blah. You know what I mean? And just kind of moved along. And she was just like, okay, where are the bodies? Do you know what I mean? Like, I think she was making a valid point there.
He was trying to be single-minded with his point of, are they lying or are they not lying? And
he was like, I just want to know. Like, I want the sensational fight.
He didn't want to let her take it in a rational direction.
No. I think he wanted like her to be like, yeah, they're lying. And so that woman would, maybe get a little tussle going. Because he really hasn't gotten any fireworks yet.
No.
Because you saw him try to do it with that guy on death row or whoever, when he was like, what about those souls?
Yeah.
Because all in all, it's been a pretty, I mean, I think it's interesting, but he hasn't gotten his chair throwing Nazi fight. You know what I mean? Like, he likes that kind of sparks flying, and he's not getting that.
No, and it's been pretty widely reported that he really like instigated that fight.
Yeah.
That didn't just happen. Like, he pretty much prodded that from the beginning, behind the scenes.
Do you know, I have not seen that since it actually played back when it was actually like live on TV. Like, I have never rewatched that. I only have like that memory, and then like seeing clips, like, people put whatever online. You see Geraldo getting hit, but I watched it when it happened, and that was the only time I've ever watched it. I've never watched it again. I couldn't even tell you who all was on the episode, or I vaguely remember.
Bob Hike, John Metzger, and I forget the third guy.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to revisit it sometime. Geraldo, actually, if you go to his website, I was looking for images because I always put up the thumbnail or whatever, and I was looking for images, and he actually has on his website like archive, like his old shows and stuff, like some of the best, and I guarantee that's on there because the Satanic one is too. So I'm sure it's on there. But anybody who likes old Geraldo bullshit stuff, he does have a website. And they're all free. They're on there. They're uploaded in pretty good quality. Oops.
Michael Aquino is right when he says there have not been any successful prosecutions for this horrible allegation.
Yep.
Ted Gunnarsson is a sincere man with a good reputation who says that there are difficulties in the prosecution. Still, the point is that has never been proven in a court of law.
It's because he's involved with the McMartin
Obviously,
stuff
it needs more investigation, but if these things are happening, then there should be a national task force of federal and state and local cops working together to prove or disprove. Because this is just unacceptable, this impasse. Coming up, we're going to have warning signs you should watch for, parents, and all of our guests will be available for a final discussion about Satanism after this break.
Oh, we're going to get the warning signs. All right.
Put her man in the White House.
Right time, and I want him to be president.
That might indicate a child.
I'm sure these warning signs are going to be great.
Parents, warning signs that might indicate a child's drift towards Satanism include abrupt emotional changes, changes in school habits, rejection of parental values, unusual interest in books on Satanism, black magic, or witchcraft. Obsession with rock music
puberty. Puberty is a symptom of Satanism. So we're only pure as children, therefore we must remain children forever, because to embrace maturity and adulthood means to embrace the devil. Fucking, what these people, that's like saying that, like, I mean, it is a fact, but, I like to tell people sometimes, like, the biggest symptom of death is waking up in the morning. Like, because that means you're going to die someday, right? And that oh God.
What were the first? Hold on, let me back up
here. This is like the TI symptoms.
Okay, we have unusual interest in abrupt emotional changes.
Or the starseed symptoms.
Yeah.
Okay, there we go. Changes in school habits. Let me take this off. Rejection of parental values. Oh boy, I was on my way to Satanism and my parents didn't even know it. Ooh, that was a close call. Close call. I didn't become a Satanist. Woo, we were right on the cusp of it.
School habits, rejection of parental values, unusual interest in books on Satanism.
Uh-oh. I had those books. Okay. I
I
wasn't.
had a whole bunch of them.
Yeah, I'm like, uh-oh. Obsession with rock music groups, including, oh boy, yes. Okay. I'm on my road to Satanism. How did I escape it? How did it not happen?
Black magic or witchcraft, obsession with rock music groups using satanic symbols or references, rejection of friends,
I had
preference
friends.
for being alone,
I do like being
meditation,
alone.
chanting, use of new vocabulary.
Ooh, new vocabulary. Well, it's my parents' fault they made me take the PSATs and learn those new fancy hip vocabulary words, so I blame that on them. Meditation, sure. Yeah. Yeah. Making me take
I checked
those
a lot of
tests.
sounds.
I know.
Check them.
Check.
The Geraldo Rivera Special, Devil Worship.
That list is so absurd. I am dying at that. That's hilarious. Like,
I mean,
and it's. Go ahead.
Full disclosure, when I was in high school, like, everybody thought I was a Satanist. When I was a freshman in high school, I was standing at the urinal peeing, and somebody came up behind me and asked me if I was a Satanist, and I just laughed and did my business and finished.
Wait, you said you were peeing into a skull?
That's exactly what he said. He was peeing into a skull.
Into a urinal. The exact same incident happened with a different person on my sophomore year, except instead of asking me if I was a Satanist, they asked me if I was really a Satanist. I was like, oh, this is progressive.
Yes, we've gone very far now. It is a great soundtrack, isn't it, Muggsy? That's hilarious. I don't know. I wore a lot of black and stuff. Like so was it 6th and 7th grade, and then I grew out of all my black clothing and got a little brighter colors. But yeah, I went through phases. I don't know. People are weird. Like, I'm asking if you're a Satanist. That's hilarious.
Well,
what was I gonna say? Now my mom, like, I wear this shirt for Queer Satanic because I bought it, to help fundraise for their lawsuit, and I've worn it around my mom. She doesn't bat an eye. If I had worn it when I was in high school or middle school, she'd be like, "Oh my God, you're a Satanist. Or are you worshiping the devil? What are you doing?" But now she sees it, and because she's progressed and she's learned about stuff and everything, she doesn't even like bat an eye. Like, I've worn it around her several times, gone to the house, she's been over here, and she doesn't say anything. But in the old days, she'd have been like, "Oh my dear God, I've got to go pray. I got to go to church." You know what I mean? She would have been having a heart attack. But yeah, my parents have progressed at least, from can't watch rock and roll or MTV or, that kind of stuff. Plus, I'm a grown-ass adult. What is she going to do if I worship Satan? But which I don't.
I never had those restrictions. I was walking around in like Misfits t-shirts with skulls and.
Oh, I had restrictions. I did. No MTV in the house.
Oh
yeah.
Man. Oh God, man, you must have been so fun to hang out with.
I know, right?
Quacks. I wish.
No, I was an asshole.
Oh, so the same you are now?
No. Much worse. Much worse. I'm just kind of a dick now.
You're just kind of a dick now. You're not an asshole.
Yeah, I was a complete asshole when I was in high school. Like, I hated everything in the world.
Well, you turned out pretty great, and you're a good friend. So,
thank you.
We'll continue.
He's okay.
All new Wednesday begins with a ghostly unsolved mystery.
Those were only
Then
the
it's
warning
two
signs. We got a
spectacular
commercial.
players beginning with a special run road without tuning in traffic wise.
Father LeVar, from the point of view of the Catholic Church, is this something Catholic parents, and I'm not singling out the Roman Catholic faith, obviously,
Those are
this
some
affects
serious
children of
BCGs
all
he's
races,
got on.
colors,
Woo!
creeds, religions. It seems particularly strong, as you've seen over the course of the last 2 hours, to be very strong in the so-called Bible Belt among fundamentalist Christians. But from the point of view of the Roman Catholic Church, is this something for parents to be concerned about?
Something very much for parents to be concerned about.
because in our Catholic theology, we know the power of the devil. We know the influence that the devil can have directly and indirectly. And whether you want to deny it as the Church of Satan people want to do or call it by another name, it doesn't matter. It's the power of evil, the force of evil, and it's that thing which disrupts ordinary human life, which as we've seen happening so often. So it is necessary for parents to beware and be
Dr.
careful.
Aquino, is it the force of evil? Does it disrupt? Is it a force for everything negative?
Well, if you're talking about Satanism as legitimate Satanists define it, absolutely not. It is ethical, it is above ground, it is positive. If you are talking about the devil as it is defined by religions such as Father Labar's, then it is, in fact, a symbol of degenerate behavior, and this is part of our problem tonight.
Should he have warnings, sir, the way we do on cigarette packs, for people coming into your houses of worship? Warning, this sect may be dangerous to your health and the health of the people you know.
No,
Oh my God,
because
Geraldo.
in the case of the Temple of Set and the Church of Satan, we have not had any problems with criminal behavior.
And yet when you hear story after story after story of people committing these wretched crimes, these violent crimes in the devil's name,
you find one common thread to that all these people that you've shown tonight come from a background in which the moral instruction has been from a religious tradition other than ours. It may be Father Labar's, it may be some other mainstream one, but it is not that of Satanism.
Sean Sellers condemned to die by lethal injection because of the murder of your mother, your stepfather, and a convenience store clerk.
Oh, that's interesting, Ry. Ry said, I got the version of Satanic Panic that was slightly removed from all this. My parents thought I was going to get Satan from Saturday morning cartoons. That's interesting. My son had friends that were very religious, and when he came to our house and we honored it, he wasn't allowed to watch any cartoons or even like Power Rangers or any cartoons. I'm trying to think, I think he was allowed to watch maybe like Sesame Street or Blue Sky. I can't remember what he was allowed to watch, but it was very, very restrictive. And we did we could have snuck, but if the kid slipped up, then he would have got in trouble. My son wouldn't have been able to be friends with him. But yeah, he came from a very religious, kind of fundamentalist type family, and we had to respect all of that. So, Scooby-Doo, he was not allowed to watch Scooby-Doo. No, that was definitely off because I had to get a list from her, and it was a very restrictive list of shows that they could watch. I can't remember because, he's getting married and he's almost 30 years old. So, but it was pretty restrictive. So I have heard of that. It was, they believed in that too.
As far as saying like it's a different version of a satanic panic, I would say that it's satanic panic with a lower S and a lower P, but satanic panic with a capital S and a capital P refers to the idea that there's these satanic cults that are all interconnected versus a normal evangelical demonic paranoia.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. I get that. No. I totally get that. Because we had, I had another incident run in with some, I'm trying to think what their religion was. More evangelicals, but the program I used to work with, the partial hospitalization program, in the summertime, we would, the children didn't have school, children and teens, and so we would bus them and things like that. Well, 2 of them lived closer to me, so I would get mileage for driving them, picking them up, because obviously it didn't, the school district picking them up and doing the busing to our program didn't make sense. So I would pick them up and drive them, and the 2, and drop them off. Well, I dropped off the one kid after we had gone to the movies that day, and he got out and he was all excited, and he was like, "Yeah, we went and saw the new Harry Potter." Oh my gosh. I'm not thinking, we're not religious. Our program didn't, and they all signed off for the summer for, movies, kids going to see movies, bowling, whatever the activities we did for the summer with them. Because we could only offer counseling, not school at the same time. There was no school during the summer. And did we get an earful. The apologies I had to give. And, this guy, I let hell and damnation upon their family. And it was witchcraft. And oh man, that was something I was not prepared for. And, and it was, even though I don't believe in that, that was something that we should have probably considered in our program, right? But yeah, it was pretty. I got a big ass chewing, and I took that to my ass chewing to my director, and I was like, "How could you let that? How could you not think of that?" But it was pretty bad.
Back to what Ry was saying, I was thinking further that there's a difference between if you think that it's just inherently corrupt what's going out on TV, or you can say it's satanic panic as a capital S, capital P satanic panic if you're saying that there's forces out there that are purposely projecting satanic ideas. So
that makes sense.
The cartoons. So I think we could, in designating, you could make a designation between a satanic panic and a demonic panic. Anyway, that's my thoughts on that.
No, I got you. I'm sorry, I had to twist my lid back on. I was sharing ice with my pupperoonies.
You've heard the Satanists say that it is not the teaching that is wrong, it is the person that's wrong. Are you using Satanism as a cover for your violence?
Mm-hmm. No, I'm not. I've heard quite a few, well, I can call them as lies on the show right now. I've heard Dr. Aquino say that Satanism is not, or the ideals that we're talking about here are not Satanism. That is because Satanists believe that good is evil and evil is good. And so, of course, they're not the ideals that he believes in. He believes that evil is good. That is what I believed in. I heard him say that the Satanic Bible is not to be taken literally. But I talked to a 16-year-old boy yesterday who takes the Satanic Bible literally. I've been working with a lot of ministries around the United States trying to get and help people get out of the occult. He takes the Satanic Bible literally. I took it literally. A lot of people are taking the Satanic Bible literally. And I heard Anton LaVey's daughter say that these babies who are being sacrificed, that's not Satanism. Or she wouldn't answer saying that it was. The fact of the matter is that kids are abducted, teenagers are drawn into the occult, and a lot of them are being used for occult sacrifices. And there's been so much on the show that you've shown so much pain and blood.
This guy speaking here, just again to reiterate, his first murder, he killed 3 people before the age of 16. The first one he shot was a Circle K convenience store clerk who refused to sell beer to his friend Richard Howard. And according to Howard's testimony, Seller stated he wanted to see what it felt like to kill somebody. And then 6 months later, he murdered his mother and stepfather while they slept. And when he shot his stepfather and his mother, he made sure he was wearing only his underwear to minimize blood splatter, and so he could stage the scene. So just to keep that in mind, who Geraldo has on here. And then he's also the guy who goes on to say possessed by the devil and the multiple personality disorders. But yeah.
Blood and all this other gore and stuff, but you really haven't shown how to get out of the occult for those who want to get out. There is, let me tell you a story about a friend of mine.
Tell it briefly, Sean. Go ahead.
Just give me 1.5 minutes.
Go ahead.
Her name is, anyway, she works with the Watch Network in Texas, and she told me that a lady called her and said, my daughter's involved in Satanism and I want her to get out, but I don't want her to become some kind of Jesus freak or anything like that. Sue told her, I'm sorry, I can't help you. A month later, the girl was living with her aunt and uncle because her mother was in an insane asylum, and she was threatening to kill her aunt and uncle.
What's your point, Sean?
She destroyed 3 lives, her mother's, herself,
Geraldo's like,
because
what's your
she
point?
didn't want her,
Talk about the devil more.
to become a Jesus freak. I want to tell you right now, there is no other way out of Satanism except through Jesus Christ.
Do you believe in the devil?
Mm-hmm. I believe in the devil, but I don't worship the devil. I'm a Christian. I stand up boldly and proudly and proclaim my faith in Jesus. I'm telling you, there is no way out of Satanism except through Christ.
Do you feel a sense of frustration that people don't believe you when you talk about what happened to your daughter?
Yes, I do. The problem with this whole issue is that because the crimes are so heinous, that people don't want to believe that an adult would do this to a child. And I don't know about the Church of Satan or the Temple of Set. I can't say that they had anything to do with what happened to my child. But if you look at a child's behavior, a child who's been ritually abused, there is no way that you can say
that these things that they're talking about didn't happen to them. From the nightmares, to the running around the room when they disclose, to the latching on, to the crying and saying, "Mommy, mommy, mommy, don't go out, because if you go out, they're going to kill you." Threats, intimidation, fear. That's how this happened to my child and children all across the country. And it may have nothing to do with Dr. Aquino or Miss LeVay. All I know is what's happening to kids all over the country. They're being ritually abused. I don't know who's behind it, but it's happening. And parents have to be aware that children are not lying. Police officers have to listen to children. Listen to what they're saying and look at their behavior, because a child cannot talk like you and I, who's been ritually abused.
We'll be right back.
Dear God.
Deserves a great deal.
The season's funniest new show.
How about a little dirty dancing?
The dirtier, the better. Couldn't decide what to wear.
Not now. Z's.
This is the one you picked.
It's Dear John after Cheers season premiere Thursday.
All of us know that life is not safe. Every day we face the possibility of crime and disease and accidents and disasters. So here comes Satanism, which most of us would like to write off as harmless antic by some lunatic fringe. A few years ago maybe, but not now. We have seen that Satanism can be linked to dope and to pornography, child abuse, and to murder. It has led seemingly normal teenagers into monstrous behavior. They preach mysticism. Other people, however, practice evil. And that is why we brought you this report tonight. I'd like to thank all of our guests, especially those we did not have a chance to get to. I'm Geraldo Rivera, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much for watching. We'll see you next time.
Oh, Geraldo, for shame.
I wish I'd listened to the music. I wish I had thrown it out. I wish I'd have gone to school and talked to him. To talk to his friends' mothers. Maybe they saw some things that I didn't see. Maybe if we put them together, we could have come up with something. I don't know. But I just think setting back and assuming that this is a teenager's life, when you see things like that, I know for a fact is wrong. I think that my son believed in Satan. In fact, he has said to me that he did believe.
I'm just going to, just real quick to end this, since we watched this before we have our final thoughts and discussion, just to reiterate, in 1995, Geraldo Rivera publicly apologized for his involvement in promoting the belief in recovered memories and satanic ritual abuse. I want to announce publicly that as a firm believer of the Believe the Children movement of the 1980s that started with the McMartin trials in California, but now I am convinced that I was terribly wrong, and many innocent people were convicted and went to prison as a result. So he does take back participating and doing all of this. So I think he realized kind of like what he
genuine. Was it genuine, or maybe there was a cease and desist letter out there from someone?
I have no idea. I'm only going from what the Missouri Legislative Library put out.
I will give him credit for at least admitting that, but I do tend to be a little cynical these days about some of that. So
I do know. The Church of Satan, Anton LaVey got. They had to do a retraction. I'm trying to think within Satanic Panic. Was it? I'm trying to think who was speaking out about him. It was when I was reading about stuff today. It'll come to me as we talk and tie up our thoughts here. But he actually got a retraction during the Satanic Panic from somebody major in one of these cases here. It'll come to me as we sit here thinking. But yeah, that was the Geraldo Rivera special here.
I want to break in for a minute so I can give Ry a
please do
chance to type back. So did they think that the cartoons were purposely made to be a vector for demons, or did they think that that was just inherent, or do you not know what their rationale was? Anyway, you guys can carry out whatever conversation.
No, I was just trying to, it's really bugging me right now.
like what Anton LaVey, and I should have, gosh darn it, whenever I read stuff and thinking I would remember it, I really should have, because I was like, oh, good for them for getting a retraction, even though I hate him. I don't hate him. I dislike, I shouldn't say hate. I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan of Anton LaVey. Freak, what was it? Just because there was so much lies spread about it and everything. Son of a
think
bitch.
that LaVey is worth maybe not hating, but highly disliking for his own actions.
That's what I highly dislike him for his own actions. Yeah. Well, I mean, he's anti-Semite, he's racist, like plagiarist.
And it's interesting because if you listen to what like Anton LaVey and the classical Satanists were saying, it sounds pretty much like what our current Republicans are saying.
Might is right.
Might is right. Let the weak die. Power this, power that. Blah blah. So, I mean, hey, the what the Christians in the 80s and 90s thought they were so different.
Geraldo had an affair with Justin Trudeau's mother. Jesus, Muggsy.
Oh, sweet.
Anton LaVey. Was it? Oh, maybe it was Ry Terran. That might be who had to retract. It was Ry Terran in his book that he wrote. Anton LaVey, he had to retract something, which I'm pretty sure that's who it was. I have to fact check that, but I'm pretty sure it was Ry Terran had to take something out that he wrote about Anton LaVey and his connections with Manson or something like that, which that happened with the family and the Prosaians too. Oh, there you go. There's an answer there, Quacks.
Okay, yeah, then that definitely qualifies as Satanic Panic with a capital S and a capital P.
There we go.
Yeah, then you're getting into the entertainment industry is under satanic control, trying to demonize your children.
I think that's the gist I got from my son's friends' parents too. They had the same kind of stuff that Ry's talking about there. Because I was like, what's wrong with, and like she started like really trying to proselytize and talk to me about it. And I was like, okay, I get it. Like I was kind of just like, I just went out of this conversation. You know what I mean? Like our kids are friends. They want to play together. Like, okay, cool. You know what I mean? Like I was just like exit stage left. Like I just went out of this, like, you know, I'm out of here, you know? And the poor kid just wanted to play Power Rangers and dress up and watch TV and watch Scooby-Doo. But wasn't my child. No, so that's really all I have for Satanic Panic. If anybody has any questions for Ry before we shut down, or Quacks or Steph or anything, and again, I recommend you can go up in the chat and follow Ry's stuff and check out the blog that the articles are on as well. Follow Spencer. You can follow all of our social medias too. I have those all listed on the Ko-fi, on our Twitch. It's all listed on the YouTube here too. All of our socials, Quacks' Patreon, Steph's tiny URL. All of our stuff's linked everywhere, so you can find us wherever we are, and the other works that we do. So that's really all I have. I'm gonna go clean my ears for the evening.
And support Honor.
Yes, we always have Honor. Yeah. Steph, do you want to put the link down in there?
We have, I closed that window. I'm sorry. I didn't.
Okay, I'll get it. Let me just clean my glasses as you talk. Go ahead.
I stuffed out. My brain stuffed out.
No, I said Honor, and you said, and we have.
You're welcome, Ry.
We have Fudgy's. We have the link for Fudgy too that we always hype.
That's on my Ko-fi and stuff too, and so is the Honor Network, and all this stuff really is, so that I don't have to post it every week. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, thank you, Ry. I know you know more about this stuff than I do, and I've just been in a lot of pain, so I've just been being
I
quiet.
know.
But I
I
really
wish
appreciate you being
Ry
here.
had been up here to be able to talk. I'm so sorry that the internet connection wasn't working. I was also going to mention too the Center for Extremism and Intervention, which also has a division, the Hands of Air, which Steph and I volunteer with. Like just kind of connections, and helping people connect if they need help. Extremism, their family members, whatever. Scott Kelly Ernest, like we help with that too as well. Let me pull up his profile on Blue Sky here real quick. And
You do more than I do. I just answer DMs occasionally and pass. I really don't do that much. I just want to be clear on that. I'm a lazy slob of a human being the past few weeks. So
there is the Center for Extremism Prevention and Intervention, Hands of Air, and let me get Scott's profile too. Yeah, I am. Well, and it's kind of like, well, let's see this. You do more for honor, and I kind of like jump in when I can, and then I do more for Center of Extreme, and you jump in when you can. We kind of like have reverse roles in those two aspects.
yeah, but we help when we can.
Exactly.
I've been really kind of checking out from reality the past few days.
And that is Scott's profile right there. There we go. I'll have to add those to my Ko-fi so I don't have to post it all the time too. I'll make sure I put those on there.
Scott was on Did Nothing Wrong. Poker and Politics was on Did Nothing Wrong. Tyler DePepe was on Did Nothing Wrong. I was also on Did Nothing Wrong. So we're members of the Did Nothing Wrong squad.
And Poker was on stream with us too. I think that was the first time he had shown his face since he did Good Morning America or whatever show that was. So now he's like just showing his face everywhere. Now he's
got
like,
a handsome face.
Yeah, he's like, I was out there, I showed my face, now I'm going to show it off to everyone. But yeah, Quacks, do you have anything you're working on or you want to promote? I know your Patreon, I have it listed everywhere, like all of our sources, but you working on anything interesting right now?
I've been going through historical records on like the Aryan separatist movement.
Oh, cool.
In the 80s, and the militias and the Satanic Panic and how it all relates together. And I've been trying to compile a database sort of references to look into things and interconnecting them all, and just like this giant red string board, but using hyperlinks.
This is easier, and I'll add Scott and everybody to this too. My Ko-fi, I just use it for resources and stuff. If you go at the pinned top, it says links to support my co-host, and you'll see Steph and Quack stuff there too. And of course, like I said, it's listed on my on our Twitch and YouTube too. But that's a helpful link so that I don't have to post on our network. Let's see, Life After Hate's on there, Honor Network's on there, Parents for Peace is on there, everything. Like there's resources everywhere on it. Anyways, but Quack's Patreon, so you can look for his upcoming projects. That's the important thing I wanted to say is on the Ko-fi. So you should subscribe to it. It's really good. A lot of information.
Thank you.
You're welcome. But yeah, because if I was like, I have to, and I was like, I'm not paying for Patreon or anything, or not paying, but Patreon looks way too complicated. And I was like, Ko-fi looks so much more simple, and I don't need something. I'm not going to be writing or doing any of that stuff. I'm going to do Ko-fi because I can just put sources and images real quick, and I can just post it all the time instead of having to post in the chat all the time while I'm trying to talk, or links, and people could just get the centralized information from us. So
yeah, I'm doing like 3 Patreon posts a day.
I can't. Now. I don't know how you do it.
That's because some of it's minimal writing, and it's like, oh, here's this, and this is this reference.
But that's your thing, though. I'm glad you are. You like
together,
it. Yeah. I enjoy it. Yeah. Thanks, Ry, for coming. I really appreciate you.
Thanks, Ry. Sorry you couldn't
connect.
I know. Join us in voice.
Thank you, everybody who came tonight and hung out with us, and everybody who will watch the rebroadcast. And who knows what we'll do in 2 weeks? You never know with us. It's always a surprise. We don't know sometimes until last minute. We're kind of we kind of wing it sometimes.
If you want to do Satanic panic videos. I've got a whole collection of different ones.
I bet you do, huh? Well, you know
Oh,
what?
and
That might be easy until I get through this wedding, because I tell you what, it's coming up here in the middle of September, and we have so much stuff going on in my ears. So maybe that'll be something we can focus on until we get through the rest of the summer here.
shut up, Muggsy. Don't stop with your thanks for putting up with my nonsense.
We love you, Muggsy. Yeah. Yeah, that might
Today
be something
is
we can do.
today is International Left Hand Day, so it's kind of appropriate that we covered an element of the left hand path.
Oh, yeah, right. Yes. That is kind of
something sinister.
And I'm sorry I was quiet tonight. I just been, like I said, I've been really checked out, just really depressed. So I'm just kind of keeping
She's
quiet.
been down on the world.
Down,
Yep.
man. Oh, I'm just glad I could make it through without digging at my ears. They're so itchy. Don't get swimmer's ears. Shake your ears out when you get out of water, guys. Don't be like me. Don't be like me. Don't. Oh, Hunter, you didn't eat your piece of ice. God. Okay. Well, I love you guys, and
Love you too.
everybody, thank you. And I'm left-handed,
Well,
by the way. Are you,
Muggsy,
Muggsy?
you're out of the club.
You're
We're
out.
kicking you out.
You're out. All right. Good night,
Sinister
everyone.
people.
See you
Good
next
night.
week or 2 weeks. See you in
Bye-bye.
2 weeks. Bye.
Good night,
Bye-bye.
everyone.